Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Yellow Jacket Hockey on 91.3 KUWS and the WIAC Sports Network. John Garver, Jason Roan with you. We are underway, so a very long basketball game preceding us, plus a little bit of technical difficulties on the WIAC Sports Network, but we are live here at Westman Arena in Superior. The Yellow Jackets winning the opening faceoff and are going from left to right here in the opening period. The puck is down behind the Stevens Point net. Cade Shea has it now up top to the right point. Evan Axel fires, and that's going to get blocked by Sean Bunting, and that'll carry him all the way back down the ice. The Yellow Jackets going to be forced to go 200 feet. Dusty Bergstrom up the left wing boards for Cade Shea. He turns it over. Loose puck in the slot. Quick shot, they score! Alec Hamady picks up the loose puck in front. Defensive zone turnover, and 39 seconds in, the Pointers have the lead.
This all starts with Bunting's block in the defensive zone. Creates a possession for the Pointers. Pointers are able to bring the puck into the Yellow Jacket zone, and then they turn up the forecheck pressure, cause that turnover, and end up capitalizing on it to take an early lead just 40 seconds into this game.
So one shot, one goal here for the Pointers. And the Yellow Jackets finding themselves down early on the season. 3-4-2 when they surrender the first goal of the game. Fortunately, there's a lot of hockey left to be played here. And now the Pointers will be called for icing. So 47 seconds in, all kinds of action.
Well, one of the things I was looking for tonight was if there might be a little home cooking, like a good bounce for the Yellow Jackets at home, given that they haven't won on home ice since January 14th. That, unfortunately, did not happen in the early going of this one, as it's gone the opposite direction, and the Jackets have a hill to climb already tonight.
It's already an early hill. Let's get the official scoring.
At the 39-second mark of period, number 1 was number 9, Alec Hamady. He got an assist from number 13, Sean Bunting.
So Bunting with the block that results in an assist. Pointers in the lead early. Puck is in the Stevens Point zone, Colin Pettersson high slot turns and fires, and Alex Proctor makes the save. Clearing attempt held in by Ryder at the left point. He sweeps that down to the right wing corner. Iki Kagawa giving chase for the Yellow Jackets there. Now the puck is going to be picked up and cleared back the other way. Down in the Yellow Jacket zone, Danziger picks it up. Schulmeister chopping him as he circles the net. Danziger up the left wing for Kagawa, and he plays it into the Stevens Point zone. Puck is back behind the Stevens Point net. Now it comes up the left wing. Played ahead at center and tipped into the Yellow Jacket zone. It's going to come down around the boards, held in by Eftimovsky at the right point. Then he gets run over by Andrew Larson. Yellow Jackets now are going to play it ahead as Tuo Mioksa clears to neutral ice. It's going to be dumped right back into the Yellow Jacket zone. 2 minutes gone here, first period. 1-0 Stevens Point. On the left wing, Larson has it go off of his stick and come all the way down. Icing waved off on the play. The Pointers will quickly regroup. Hunter O'Brien making it up the left wing. Tipped into the Yellow Jacket zone where Evan Axel will regain possession for the Yellow Jackets here. He moves it up for Tuo Mioksa, who tips that one down into the Stevens Point zone. So good pace here in the early going. Both teams bouncing around at a pretty good clip. Puck comes out into the neutral zone, and it's going to be sent right back in to Stevens Point territory. Now the puck played ahead. Chris Engelbert on the left wing, sends it into the Yellow Jacket zone. It's behind the net. Engelbert actually comes out with it here. Moves it up to the left point, Moser. A shot, save made by Skorpic. That goes off his stick into the right wing corner. Yarmolnik takes a bump there from Bunting. The puck tied up in the skates of Evan Axel. Bunting's going to dig it free. Bunting now up to the right point. Manning takes the shot. That's going to be tipped and end up in the left wing corner. Stevens Point playing very quick here in the opening couple of minutes. Engelbert left wing corner. Gives it behind the goal. Owen Dean now for the Pointers. Up top at the left point, Moser, but Nickerson gets a stick on that and pokes it to center. Aiden Moser picks it up. Nickerson peels off to go change. And the Pointers will send that into Yellow Jacket territory. Puck's picked up behind the net by Brennan. Over the left side, Ryder. Up the wing, Dauphiné. He gets it into the neutral zone. Puck comes back to the Yellow Jacket blue line now. Ryder sidesteps the check. He gets knocked off the play. Pointers with numbers as they come back across the Yellow Jacket line. Markham feeds that one across. Now it's centered back up top. Hintz takes the shot. He misses wide. Yellow Jackets on their heels here in the early going as Cade Shea is able to get it out into the neutral zone. Now Justin Dauphiné sidesteps a check. Stick handles around another man. Has it left wing corner. It goes behind the goal. Quentin Hill sends that one along the boards. It comes back down behind the net. Dauphiné centers. That's going to go right into the goal crease. And dropping down and covering it up is Alex Proctor. Face-off coming up here in the Stevens Point zone. 16:03 to play. First period, 1-0 Stevens Point.
Face-offs will be a part of the story tonight. There were a lot of them in the Saturday night game last week. Not quite as many the previous night, right? But Yellow Jackets did pretty decent one night, not very well at all the next night. It'll be imperative to not have to chase the game, win some more face-offs tonight for UWS.
Jackets win the draw. Danzinger's shot gets tipped in the circle and it ends up in the left corner. Now up to the left point, a shot by Kagawa deflected in front. Proctor makes the save. It comes up to the right point. Danzinger tried to put it down the boards. It's broken up 2-on-1 for the Pointers. Except the puck gets away from Alex Johnson and comes all the way back down behind the Yellow Jacket net. Isaac DeVoe has it here. DeVoe ahead at center. Pettersson to the left wing. Kagawa across the line they come. He throws it to the right wing corner where Carson Riddle picks it up. Now a loose puck behind the Stevens Point net. They'll start it back the other way. Alex Johnson to center. Drops it off for Norris. Blake Norris with a shot. Skorpic the save. Huge rebound there, and it's going to be swept away. Comes back over to the right wing side. Knocked off the stick. With Turner Richards there, now up to the blue line, and it's going to be driven back down around the boards. Evan Axel gets a stick on it, and Colin Pettersson will start it back the other way. Pettersson for the Yellow Jackets across the Stevens Point line, drops it off for Kagawa. He mishandles in the right circle. Joseph Manning follows the play. It's going to come up to the right point and get past Brennan out into the neutral zone. Manning's pass then hits Brennan in the skate, comes right to Turner Richards, and he'll play it into the Yellow Jacket zone. Behind the net now, Ryder to Brennan. Ahead at center, off the stick of Tuomioksa. Engelbert right back across the Yellow Jacket line. He throws it in the right corner for Dean. Sharp angle shot hits the outside of the cage, and the Yellow Jackets clear but not out. Now Brennan gets it on his stick. He turns it over. Jackets get it back. On the right wing, Larson across the Stevens Point line. Tried to saucer that one to the front of the net. I'd rather see a shot on goal there. It comes back up top to the left point. Ryder throws it down the boards. Pointers intercept, and they're going to come back the other direction. Owen Dean at center. Feeds it off for Hintz on the left wing. He dumps it in behind the Yellow Jacket net. Now Ryder has it here. Tyler Ryder picking up speed to center. Throws that one rink wide. Tuomioksa left circle. Out in front for Reed, but he couldn't get a stick on it. And we'll get a stoppage in play. As Alex Proctor covers up Andrew Larson, who slid his way into the goal crease. And a face-off coming here.
Meanwhile, at the other end, Jan Skorpic looking a little uncomfortable here in the early going, fighting it a little bit between the pipes for UWS. Hopefully he can find his confidence and comfort zone with a few more shots on goal here.
Jackets controlling the face-off, well, trying to anyway, as center pokes it to the left wing boards, and now Stevens Point will play it back the other direction. Danzinger inside his own blue line, dropping it off for DeVoe. Now ahead into the neutral zone. That's broken up. DeVoe gets it back. Up the left wing for Setter, and he tips it into the Stevens Point zone. Puck comes around the boards on the right wing. Nickerson misses and goes in face first. He seems to be okay as he pops back up. Meanwhile, the puck dumped back down into the Yellow Jacket zone. They fail to clear. DeVoe gets it back. Isaac DeVoe will curl behind his goal now and feed it on the left wing for Yarmulnik. He goes back against the grain. Pass behind Danzinger, but he's able to recover but not clear it out of the zone. It's going to be played back down behind the Yellow Jacket net. DeVoe losing the puck in the right wing corner. It's played up top. Eftimovsky at the right point. Left point, Hunter O'Brien. Now down low. Alex Johnson tried to play that one up top. It doesn't go. Pizarchuk for Stevens Point, up top for Eftimovsky. Yellow Jackets able to break up the play, but they just can't clear it out of their zone. Finally they do. And it's going to come back down inside the Stevens Point line. Eftimovsky, his pass up the boards is intercepted. Ishmael now feeds it ahead for Cade Shea across the line. A backhand shot from the right circle is swallowed up by Alex Proctor. And we'll get a face-off here in the Stevens Point zone. 12:39 remaining. First period. Stevens Point with the 1-0 lead. Alec Hamidy's 7th of the year, just 39 seconds in. The goal that is on the board so far.
Aggressive forecheck really paying dividends for Stevens Point so far. It helped produce that first goal and has continued to keep the Jackets bottled up.
Jackets win the face-off here. It's pushed down to the right corner. Dauphiné comes up with it. Sends it up to the right point. A shot by Axel, tipped in front by Shea, and Proctor makes the save.
Nice job by Shea there, gaining position and redirecting that shot. Good battle out front.
Face-off once again to Proctor's left. Pointers win the draw this time. Manning wraps that around the right side. Held in at the left point by Bergstrom. Now in the left wing corner, Dauphiné. Back up top, Bergstrom, a shot from the point, and a big save made there by Proctor as he kicked that left leg out and managed to get the rebound to come all the way to neutral ice. At the Yellow Jacket blue line, and we get a stoppage in play, and offside will be the call. If you were tuned in last Saturday, there was a altercation at the end of regulation time, and as a result, each team is without a couple of players. Gabe Randall of Stevens Point, Liam Whitehouse of the Yellow Jackets are both out for this evening. Nico Shimolevsky and Daniel Roosevelt, the leading scorers for the Pointers and Yellow Jackets respectively, out for the first period tonight.
And in the case of Daniel Roosevelt, out meaning right outside the glass on a stationary bike right now.
Yes.
Pedaling furiously, waiting for the second period.
At center now, the Pointers 2-on-1 if they hurry across the Yellow Jacket line. Markham, top of the left circle, takes the shot. Hamady with the tip, and that's not going to go. It comes around to the right point where it's held in. Pushed down into the corner. Colangelo there for Stevens Point. Hamady kicking it up the boards. Loses the lumber. Kagawa sets it up for Ryder, but that's not going to leave the zone. Now a shot in from the right circle, sticked away by Skorpic. Danziger picks up the puck, feeds it ahead. Kagawa tips it past the defense. It comes all the way down. Proctor way out of his net. And he'll fire that one ahead on the left wing for Hamady, and he'll dump it into the Yellow Jacket zone. Skorpic leaving it behind the goal. Bergstrom for Axel. That pass ahead comes right to Eftimovsky as it was out of the reach of everybody in a gold sweater. Meanwhile, in the center face-off circle, Axel chops that into the Stevens Point zone. Quickly played up the right wing boards. Yellow Jackets will intercept. Now Tuo Mioksa across the Stevens Point line. Fires from the right circle. Proctor makes the save. Pointers regain control and dump it out. Axel fires it right back in. Blake Norris out from behind his net for Stevens Point. Alex Johnson on the left wing. He crosses the Yellow Jacket line. Sends it deep as it comes around the boards. Scooped up there by Bergstrom. Now it's dropped back Larson. Rink wide feed onto the right for Sam Brennan. Brennan leads the charge for the Jackets, goes to dump it in and whiffs on it. Fortunately, the Pointers mishandle and it comes all the way back down behind the net. Eftimovsky's clearing attempt. Broken up by Cade Shea. Ryder pokes it back down the boards. Dauphiné into the slot. Takes the backhand. That one didn't get much on it. And it rolls in on net. Proctor will grab it and we'll get a face-off here in Stevens Point territory.
Just needed one more step by either Cade Shea or Chris Ishmael, and they would have been able to catch up to that roller off the stick of Dauphiné and maybe redirect it. But unfortunately, it rolled in rather harmlessly on Alex Proctor instead.
Face off to Proctor's left. Controlled by the Pointers. Quickly on the forecheck Dauphiné, but Pointers are going to get it to neutral. Jackets Ishmael dumps it right back in. It comes down behind the goal now. Mosier. Over for Manning on the right side. He throws it up the right wing boards. Jackets break that one up. A good check there by Ryder. And then getting knocked off his skates was Chris Ishmael in the neutral zone. Puck is underneath him. And it comes back to Cade Shea. They'll back it all the way up into the Yellow Jacket zone. Ryder's pass goes off the stick of Ishmael. Comes all the way down. Oh boy, they called icing on that. I thought Dauphiné got past him at the last second, but icing is the call. And the face-off will come all the way back down to the Yellow Jacket zone.
Good race for the puck there. It's always a tough spot for the officials when it's that close. I think you want to err on the side of whistling it there to try to avoid any kind of contact rather than create contact. And that's what they did.
Face-off is going to split the D and come all the way down. 4 Yellow Jackets peel off for a line change. Dustin Dauphiné will ride it out a little longer. Reinforcements in place. Now he heads out. Meanwhile, the Pointers send it ahead at center. Good stretch pass. Tipped in by Bunting. DeVoe gets there first. Sends it up the left wing for Kagawa. He goes to clear but gets run over by Bunting. He's going to come back down behind the Yellow Jacket net now. Bouncing off that check is Danziger. His pass hits a skate. Comes into the slot. Bunting's got it. A shot. Glove save. Skorpic. He'll hold. And we'll get the face-off coming up here in the Yellow Jacket zone. If you can't get enough of the Yellow Jackets, then tune into Eye of the Swarm, the official podcast of Yellow Jacket Athletics. Join the big sound Matt Johnson and me throughout the year as we sit down with Yellow Jackets student athletes, coaches, and other guests. Eye of the Swarm is available at uwsyellowjackets.com/podcast on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your podcast. Had fully intended to record this week, and then Mother Nature stepped in and said, not so fast.
She stepped in with authority this week.
Yeah, she announced her presence. There's no doubt about that. I went from having grass in parts of my yard to a sledding hill.
Yes.
You know,
over
more
a foot of fresh snow at our place, and much more than that, just a little ways up the North Shore.
Yeah, they were, upwards of 4 feet around Hovland and Tofty and Lutzen.
Barring a really supreme warm-up, there's going to be snow up there for a long time this spring.
Yeah. Yeah, it might stretch into May.
Yeah.
In the higher elevations of the Arrowhead. 9:17 to go here in the opening period. Shot 7-4 Yellow Jackets. They trail 1-0.
Good start in terms of shot volume for the Yellow Jackets. They've gotten pucks on net.
They've been on their heels a little bit in the defensive zone at times. Mm-hmm. They haven't really been able to establish that extended forechecking shift that we want to see.
Right.
So hopefully some of that will come into play here as the hockey game rolls on. Axel behind his net, ahead on the left wing for Kagawa. Rink-wide feet on the right. Riddle tips it for Pettersson, takes the shot, it's blocked. Pettersson battling forward on the right wing boards. In to help out Carson Riddle. He works it loose. It comes down behind the net now where Quentin Hill has it for Stevens Point. Up the right wing for Dean. He lets it go, and it's picked up by Hintz, who comes over to the left wing for Engelbert. He gets knocked down by Pettersson. Now Riddle's got it here, and he'll feed it over for Evan Axel. Yellow Jackets will change the forward line here as Axel backs it up and then moves it up the right wing. This is Yarmolnik across the Stevens Point line. Yarmolnik right circle, a shot and a blocker save by Proctor. Now on the left wing boards, this is Yarmolnik again into the slot for center, the one-timer, and he misses high. Now on the right wing board, Danziger tried to center. That pops up in the air. Jump ball comes down. Danziger's got it, but they're going to call the hand pass. As not one but two Yellow Jackets went up for that one, and they did get it with the glove. So the faceoff will come out into the neutral zone.
Another good sequence for UWS right up until that hand pass. Some good physicality from Colin Pettersson setting the tone. Translates into some offense on the next shift.
From the neutral zone, Isaac DeVoe dumps it in. Eftimovsky behind the goal, wraps it around Pizarchuk right wing. His clearing attempt held in. Now Johnson's got it, and the Pointers have a 3-on-2 if they hustle as they come across the Yellow Jacket blue line. Down into the right wing corner. Danziger battling forward. It's going to be worked loose, and the Pointers have it. Turner Richards on the right wing. Now Richards, high slot, takes the shot. That one hits the referee at the left side of the net. That's going to sting your pal Stanny there. On the left wing boards, Jackets can't get it out. DeVoe behind the net, wraps it around the right wing. Nickerson there, gets it into the neutral zone. O'Brien will knock it down and dump it right back into Yellow Jacket territory. Now it's Danziger up on the right wing. Nickerson across the Stevens Point line. He sends it in. Proctor out. He'll wrap that hard around the left wing. Held in by Brennan at the right point. He throws it down low. Two-hopper in on goal. Proctor's going to glove it. And he'll hold on with Tuomioksa looking for the loose puck.
Proctor doing a good job getting right down to ice level, getting his eyes behind his glove on that one. A little bit of a tricky bouncer. He made it look easy.
One of the things Coach McKenna talked about in the pregame last week and when we were down in Stevens Point is putting pucks in the offensive zone where Proctor couldn't play it because he's like a third defenseman back there. They've allowed him to play the puck a lot tonight.
Yes.
Puck coming down into Yellow Jacket territory now. It's in the left wing corner. Engelbert's got it quickly up to the left point. Mosier gets the shot away, and Skorpik will make the glove save and hold.
Skorpik with a couple of easy glove saves now. Hopefully that gets him into a little bit of a groove.
7:07 to go here in the first. 1-0 Stevens Point. If you tuned in late, 39 seconds in, Alec Hamady scoring his 7th. Capitalizing on a blocked shot by Sean Bunting that made its way all the way back down the ice. Bunting has the puck now, right wing corner. Cycles it down low. Engelbert now coming up the right board. Feeds it up to the right point. Bunting. He'll dump it deep. Owen Dean's got it now. For Manning on the left wing boards. Jackets break it up. Up the right wing. This is Ishmael across the line. Throws that one across. Cade Shea fires, and I think Bunting got a stick on that and tipped it over the top of the net. In the right wing corner, Ishmael. Pitchforks that behind the net looking for Shea. Now Dauphinet's got it. Banks it off the back of the goal. Shea's has it here. Feeds it up top. At the right point, Bergstrom. Over to the left point, Ishmael. Down left corner, Axel. Steps on the puck. Maintains control and then pokes it deep. Jackets are going to peel off for a change here as Mosier settles it down behind. Over to Manning on the right wing boards. In the middle for Bunting. To Engelbert on the left wing. His pass intended for Bunting picked off by Riddle. Carson Riddle picks up speed in his own zone now across the red line into Pointer territory. Tried to split 4 defenders. Got past the first level, but the linebackers got him. And then that's going to go over the glass and out of play.
Interesting decision there. Had Kagawa in the neutral zone looking for the long pass. Opted to just take it himself and go 1v4.
Face-off will be to Proctor's right. Riddle in to take the draw. Pointers are going to win the draw. Quentin Hill behind the net, wraps it around to the left wing side. It's tipped out into the neutral zone. Riddle's pass picked off. Hunter Hastings backhands it into Yellow Jacket territory. Riddle will flip that one back out. Bouncing puck settled down by Hill at the Pointer blue line. And now it's going to be dumped back into Yellow Jacket territory. Behind the net, coming up the left side, DeVoe. His pass intercepted. Pizarchuk had it, then it was taken away from him by Yermolnik, who feeds it ahead. Tipped out to center by Colin Pettersson. Pointers dump it right back into Yellow Jacket territory. On the right board, Pettersson sends it ahead. Setter dumps it in. It comes back behind the net. Norris for Stevens Point, watched by Blake Setter. Puck moved up to Pizarchuk on the left wing. He got a piece of it and sends it into the Yellow Jacket zone. Ryder behind the goal, hits the brakes, getting away from Richards. Now Ryder comes away with it here. Up the middle, he gives it to Yermolnik. Alexei Yermolnik drops it off. A long shot by Setter is blocked. Nickerson behind the goal. Wanted to go to the left corner for Yermolnik, but that wasn't there, because Yermolnik had vacated to go to the front of the net. Now in the neutral zone, Setter loses the puck and Pizarchuk back the other way. He flips it to the Yellow Jacket line. Ryder quickly back in transition as Nickerson tips it into Pointer territory. O'Brien turns it over. A blast by Yermolnik, save. Tuomioksa shot. That one stopped as well at the left point. Walking down to the circle, Bergstrom, a shot, save made there again. And then it's going to be cleared away from trouble into the left wing corner. Puck bounces away from Tuomioksa and comes to neutral ice. Nickerson will start it back the other way. Rupe Tuomioksa giving chase. He and O'Brien go after it. They both fall down. The puck was there for a moment. Now the Pointers come away with it as Alex Johnson feeds it rink wide onto the right wing. Taken there by Camden Markham and dumped into the Yellow Jacket zone. Skorpic out, wraps it around the left side. Held in at the point and driven back down low. Behind the Yellow Jacket net is Bergstrom now. Ahead on the left wing, out of the reach of everybody in a gold sweater, and the Pointers get a shot away from Hill that misses wide. Hintz holds the zone left point, takes a shot left circle, and he misses high and wide. Now Bunting on the right wing, throws it up top, a shot that's blocked in front. Bergstrom regains control for the Yellow Jackets here and feeds it ahead. Larson up the right wing for A.J. Reed. He tips it in. Quentin Hill will chase it down. Banks it off the boards behind the Pointer goal, and it's taken by Hintz back the other way. Moves it ahead for Richards. Sends it over to the right circle. A shot and a pad save is made. Jan Skorpic kicks that one out, and the Yellow Jackets come back on the attack. At center, it's Ryder now across the Stevens Point line on the left wing. Ryder pokes it to the corner as we have passed the 17-minute mark of the first period. 1-0 Stevens Point. In the slot, Dauphiné shot blocked. Ishmael on the rebound, and a save by Proctor. Not once, but twice. Now Ishmael right circle, takes the shot, it gets blocked. Sends that one up top, but it's out of the reach of even Matt Danziger. The pressure relieved as it comes all the way down, and the Yellow Jackets forced to regroup. Danziger moves it ahead for Dauphiné, who picks up steam at center. Dauphiné across the Stevens Point line, takes the shot. That one tipped and bounces in on goal. It'll be covered up and held by Alex Proctor. And the faceoff coming in the Stevens Point zone. But Alex Proctor, the reason this thing's 1-0 right now.
Yeah, Jackets doing a good job of creating shot volume and getting some shots from in tight. Alex Proctor has just been unsolvable so far.
Faceoff will be to Proctor's left. Riddle will take it for the Yellow Jackets. He wins it at the right point. Axel sends it down low behind the net. Pettersson's got it. Pettersson taken into the boards. It's going to be cleared around but not out. Held in at the left point. Bergstrom had to settle the bouncing puck down. He sends it deep again. Behind the net, Pettersson. Carries to the left corner. He's bumped on the play. It comes up to the left point again for Bergstrom. He takes the shot. Glove save Proctor. And there's no rebound. With exactly 2 minutes to play here in this opening period. 1-0 Pointers, despite the Yellow Jackets having a 2-1 edge in shots on goal.
Yeah, it feels like the Pointers have had more shots than that.
Riddle goes forward with the faceoff. Pops right in on net, and it'll be stopped by Proctor, and he'll cover up again. And we'll do it again. It took all of 1 second off the clock. Face-off controlled by the Pointers this time. Along the end boards, Pettersson works it free. Kagawa wraparound attempt right side. And then Proctor will cover that one up. I think they got the hands of Kagawa right as he was coming around that right post.
Yeah, wasn't able to get it quite as much on that shot as I think he would have if he would have had his hands free on that wraparound stuff. As it was, it stopped the puck short and made it go short side, which almost became tricky, but again, just wasn't quite enough on it to get past the glove of Proctor.
Face off to Proctor's left this time. Excuse me. I've apologized many times this weekend for the voice. The cold got into the Garver house this week, so a lot of sniffles and clearing of the throat. Across the Yellow Jacket line, Engelbert takes a shot. That one doesn't go. Jackets pick it up and come back on the attack quickly now. It's Kagawa ahead at center for Pettersson across the Stevens Point line. Takes the shot. It's tipped over the top of the net. Clearing attempt is going to be held at the right point. Danziger gives it for Riddle on the right side. It's going to get off his skate and go past Danziger. That will come all the way back down. Yellow Jackets out to clear it around the boards. It's Skorpic feeding it ahead now where he's got Ryder. Ryder turns it over at neutral ice. Ryder gets it back. Tried to feed that up the boards for Tuomioksa, but it doesn't go. Dumped back in by the Pointers. Larson sends it right back out. Now Larson at center. Mishandles, gets it back. Tuomioksa on the left wing dumps it in as we dunk under a minute to go here in this opening period. At the right point. Shot taken there by Axel, gets blocked. It's going to be cleared back out into the neutral zone now. Reed on the left wing. Ducks underneath the check and pokes it into the left corner. Mosier picks it up along the end board. He's taken off the play by Reed. Larson now for the Jackets. Carries behind the net. Throws that one in front. Tried to split the difference and get it to Tuomioksa, but that one is intercepted and the Pointers come back on the attack. Joseph Manning sends it into Yellow Jacket territory. The puck comes over to the right wing corner. Tuomioksa tied up on the play. In to help out Dusty Bergstrom. It's finally going to be worked loose by Bergstrom, and he'll start the Jackets back with 20 seconds to play. On the right wing, Reed. He gets stood up at the Stevens Point line, and the Yellow Jackets are going to be called for an offside. 12.1 seconds remaining here in this opening period. 1-0 Stevens Point.
Jackets with one last chance here if they can win a face-off. Maybe get a good rim dump, pick it up on the other side.
False start on the faceoff.
Down to 11.2 seconds remaining after that. Dauphiné will come in to take the draw now.
Pointers control it. Eftimovsky has it here. Johnson up the right wing across the Yellow Jacket line. Throws it into the slot, but whiffing on the one-timer Pizarchuk. And the Jackets dodged a bullet there because they didn't get the puck deep. Pointers transition very quickly.
Ryder got caught up in the neutral zone a little bit, and it led to an odd man rush.
Yeah, next thing you know, a 3-on-2 is developing, and it's one good pass away from being a 2-0 game here. Pizarchuk scoring a couple times last weekend against the Yellow Jackets. 9 times on the season, so not exactly one of the guys you want having the puck in that situation.
Right, yeah, that would have been a killer giving up a goal there. But as it is, just a 1-0 deficit for the Yellow Jackets.
Pointers up 1-0 after 1. We'll take a timeout and come back with our first intermission, sponsored by Hovland Incorporated, right after this. This is Yellow Jacket Hockey on 91.3 KUWS Superior and the WIAC Sports Network. Sponsored by Hovland Incorporated, and the Yellow Jackets find themselves down 1-0 after 20 minutes of play. Good all-around period, though, as the Yellow Jackets outshot the Pointers 18-9. They did have some offensive zone time, but looked like they were a bit, I don't want to say flat, maybe flat-footed at times, the defensive zone, and a little uncharacteristic at sometimes, too, as, like you made the comment about Tyler Ryder on the last play in the neutral zone where he jumps up late in the period knowing full well that you want to don't give one up at that point. You're playing the doubles defense, if you will.
Right.
And they kind of let that one get away from them a little bit.
Yeah, and I think credit to Steven's point. They've played with great pace so far in this one. Came out with a really aggressive forecheck. They've been moving their feet really well, particularly when they have the puck or when they've been forechecking in the offensive zone. They've really been all over the Yellow Jackets, taking away time and space, and I think you can see the result of that with some of the Yellow Jackets' efforts in the defensive zone and efforts to break the puck out as well.
Stevens Point getting the only goal of the period on the very first shift, just 39 seconds in. Alec Hamady scoring his 7th goal of the season, the assist to Sean Bunting. He started the whole thing with the block shot.
Right, yeah, big shift for Bunting, turning defense into offense, blocking a shot, getting the puck down into the UWS zone. Eventually, after some of that great forechecking by the Pointers, they got another scoring chance out of it, and they capitalized.
That one coming just 39 seconds in for the folks watching on the WIAC network. There's the replay. Forthcoming, and it was just the block shot came all the way down, and then it just pops loose in the slot and wires that shot over the glove of Jan Skorpek. I don't know if he was expecting it to get on him that quickly.
Right, and that's absolutely not how you want to start a game as a goaltender, having a scramble situation and a puck get on you quickly from a prime scoring zone like that. And we talked early in the broadcast about Skorpek seemed to be fighting the puck a little bit in the early going. It seemed like he got more comfortable as the period went on.
Yellow Jackets, I think, also had a little bit of difficulty establishing the forecheck. They didn't spend that lengthy where they stack a couple of shifts together in the offensive zone. Didn't see any of that in the first period from them for the most part, and that kind of limited the high-quality chances that they were going to get to.
Right, there was pretty good shot volume, but there weren't necessarily a lot of great scoring chances because it was a little bit of one and done and not a lot of extended zone time where you're able to really grind that defending team down and get them tired, which helps lead to some of the great scoring chances as opposed to just pucks on goal.
Right. So Stevens Point, on the other hand, I think they did a little bit better job of that, where they, especially early, is the first 5-6 minutes of the period, they had the puck in the offensive zone a lot. They did a really good job of kind of pinning the Jackets in that zone, and he felt like if they got another one there, Jackets are in trouble.
Yeah, the looks they got were pretty good looks in that first half of the first period. So really fortunate for UWS that they were able to weather that storm and then return fire a little bit and ultimately escape the period only down 1-0.
Shots 18-9 in the opening period favoring the Yellow Jackets. No penalties called in the first 20 minutes, so that kind of mirrors what we had last weekend. If you take out what happened at the end of Saturday's game, there were 9 penalties called the entire weekend. It was a very cleanly played couple of games, and in this period here, can't even say the referees missed any calls. It was just a cleanly played period.
Yeah, the skating was fast. There wasn't a whole lot of stuff happening behind the play. Just two teams competing, trying to keep their seasons alive right now.
1-0 Stevens Point after one. We'll take a quick timeout and come back with more of our first intermission, sponsored by Hovland Incorporated right after this. This is Yellow Jacket Hockey on 91.3 KUWS Superior and the WIAC Sports Network. Arena about 9 minutes away from the start of the second period. The Yellow Jackets trailing Stevens Point 1-0 after 20 minutes of play. First playoff meeting in 4 years between these two teams, and the last time they met was back in 2022 in the WIAC semifinals at Stevens Point. It was interesting talking to their radio crew after the game last Saturday. This is the first conference playoff game for Stevens Point on the road since 2016.
Wow,
yeah.
What a run.
Yeah, so
wow.
It's been a long time since they have been on the road in a conference playoff game. And all time between these two clubs, this is meeting number 32. Yellow Jackets with an edge of 15-11, and there are 3 tie games in there as well because, of course, back in the previous incarnation of playoff hockey in this conference, you could play to a tie game on a Friday and then set up the winner-take-all on Saturday. Unless you tie, then you play another mini game. But you don't have to worry about the mini games on the men's side of things anymore. The women's side, they still do have the mini game option.
End of an era.
It is an end of an era, and I'm not sorry to see it go. You look back at the playoff history between these teams. 2012 there was a mini game when we were at Stevens Point, and the Yellow Jackets lost that one. There was a mini game in 2004. Remember that one very well. Yellow Jackets lost that one as well. It was they lost on Friday 6-4, won on Saturday 3-1, setting up the mini game. And I knew we were in trouble when they dumped the puck in from their side of center and it went in the net during the mini. And I was like, yep, that. I think we're in trouble here. I ended up losing 3-1 in the mini in that one. Going back to 1997, Jackets won on Friday, then lost on Saturday, won the mini game 1-0 in overtime. I was on that team. Matt Holmes with the overtime goal in that one to set off Bedlam. 1995, my freshman year. We got beat in the Friday night game here 6-0.
Thank goodness it wasn't 2-goal total goal series.
Yeah, you're in trouble then. This is how interesting everything was in the 1990s. So you didn't have nearly as many teams in Division III. You didn't have nearly as many automatic qualifiers in Division III at the time. We, the NCHA at the time, didn't have an AQ because Bemidji State was in our conference. And because we had a Division II school in our conference, hence, you're not eligible to have an automatic qualifier. So that year we won our first round series against Lake Forest here. Stevens Point comes to town. I don't even know if destroyed can adequately describe what happened that night. It was beyond destruction. It was the worst home loss of the 1990s. 6-0 on this ice. And we had I'm not going to get into the details, but a very memorable team meeting on Saturday. And we come out and win 5-2. So we closed the gap in the 2-game total goal series, but it wouldn't have been enough. So we win the game 5-2. We go to the mini game. And I can still see it. Lindsey Braun scoring on a slap shot from right about where the Subway logo is on the ice out there. In the first minute of the mini game puts us in front. And we're thinking, okay, this is good. Then Stevens Point scores in the last minute of the mini game to send it to overtime. Nothing gets decided. It goes to a second OT.
No shootouts here.
No shootouts here. You just keep right on going. And then with like 4 minutes left in the second overtime, Stevens Point scores to win the mini game. And devastation, because we were having a pretty good year at that point. We're going, okay, we could make a bit of a run here. So we're out, but pretty certain we're not done. Stevens Point goes to Bemidji State to play in the NCHA final. Bemidji State wins it. NCAA pool comes out. We're the 1 seed in the West.
Oh, wow.
Stevens Point comes back here. Stevens Point comes back here.
Happy, I'm sure.
We beat them 8-4 on Friday and then 5-2 on Saturday to go to the Final Four.
Nice.
Yeah. That was, that was really something. And that was my introduction to the mini game was that one right there. And I mean, we had one my sophomore year on the road in Bemidji where we got beat up really bad on Friday, won on Saturday, then won the mini game to advance the NCHA final. We had the one in Stevens Point my junior year. We had one in the NCAA tournament my junior year against St. Norbert here. And that is still the loudest I have ever heard this building. If you followed us over the years on KUWS, you may have heard the old goal montage to open the broadcast. And Craig Boyd scored with 10 seconds left in that mini game to put us up 1-0. And I can vividly still see the play. He got probably about 15 feet or so inside the blue line, winds up and lets a heater go that beats Roby Gropp, and the place explodes. And it never quieted down. Our assistant coach at the time was Mark Wick, who was later the head coach at St. Scholastica. He looks at Coach Nelson and says, "You got to call a timeout right now. Call a timeout, get everybody in here, and settle them down." There's still 10 seconds left here. And so they called the timeout and tried to settle us down. St. Norbert wins the faceoff.
Oh, no.
Comes right back down into our zone and has a golden opportunity to win that thing. Thank God Dave Gratian made a massive save to preserve that and go to the Final Four. So,
wow.
Yeah, plenty of mini games in my time, and not just as a player, as a broadcaster too.
Nowadays, we talk about the rivalries that exist for UWS. How did it feel for you and your team facing Bemidji State? Was there something extra on that because they
100%.
were D2, big school, now a Division I hockey program? Yeah. Was there something extra in those games?
They were a D2 and they were winning the national championship every year as a Division II, but for us, that was a huge rivalry. Yeah, it was huge.
That was a big marker. It's like, that's the one you want.
And it's 2 hours down the road.
Yeah,
and it was mutual.
Yeah,
there was I remember my first time playing Bemidji, coming to practice that Monday and going, something's not right with Coach. How many pots of coffee did Coach drink today? Because he is up. And they were like, no, this happens on Bemidji week all the time. And then getting to game day, the buzz on campus was up a couple notches. People were showing up at the building earlier than normal, for that one. And yeah, Bemidji week was always a special week for us. That was in my 4 years as a player, that was our biggest rival.
That is one kind of unfortunate thing about the way that all of the conferences and levels of college hockey have evolved, is that you don't really have that. It's not that you don't have good rivals,
right?
But you don't have that big dog.
Yeah,
that's just that everybody's gunning for.
Yep, and we, that back in that era with Bemidji, it was. I did a special with Coach Nelson about this the year he got in the Hall of Fame, and we talked at length about this. And he's like, we had our USHL guys that we got. They had their USHL guys that they got. We had our Western Canadians we got. They had their Western Canadians. Kevin Saab played for us. His brother Jeff played for Bemidji. We had a whole slew of Calgary guys. They had a whole bunch of Calgary guys. They all knew each other, and that just brought it up a couple of notches. And the student sections got into it. I remember having things thrown at me walking onto the ice at the old John Glass Fieldhouse. I can remember being here and having somebody throw a beaver tail on the ice. I mean, it was an incredible rivalry between us and Bemidji back then. And yeah, so much fun. Hated when I went Division I because we lost that, but yeah, it was there was always something special about Bemidji week. And I got a note here that former Yellow Jacket All-American goaltender Jeff Markham is tuned in. His nephew playing for Stevens Point. So boo on that, Boomer. But I think he can very easily speak to the venom and the fun that was built into that Bemidji State rivalry.
As we look out onto the ice, both teams back out here, and we see Daniel Roosevelt taking some hot laps as he'll make his debut for the evening at left wing here for the Jackets.
And on the other side, Nico Shimolevsky making his debut for the Pointers. So everybody with their full complement of skaters here now as the Yellow Jackets win the opening face-off of the second period. Axel's pass is going to be way too far out in front of Justin Dauphiné. And the Pointers will come back on the attack as Markham feeds Shimolevsky. Right circle, takes the shot, and Skorpic will make the save. No rebound available this time as he swallows that one up, and the face-off will be coming here in the the Yellow Jacket zone.
An eventful opening shift for those two combatants from last week. Roosevelt absorbing a cross-check into the jaw in the opening face-off, and then Shimolevsky ended up getting the shot on goal.
Ryder for the Yellow Jackets, pressured by Shimolevsky, who steals the puck away and then centers. Ishmael will intercept that and backhand it out into the neutral zone here. Joseph Manning for the Pointers, ahead for Shimolevsky on the right wing. He tips it in. Brennan giving chase along with Owen Dean of Stevens Point. Picked up behind the net now. Ryder up the left wing for Roosevelt, who comes to center. He flips that one in on the right wing for Dauphiné. Ishmael picks it up in the right corner, throws it in front looking for Roosevelt, but it's out of his reach. And Bunting will come back the other way for Stevens Point. Up the right wing, Bunting takes a shot. Skorpic to save, had no idea where it went as it got behind him. And the Jackets able to clear that one away from trouble.
So much for looking more comfortable.
Hearing Lou Brown right now go, get Vaughn up. Puck is dumped back down into the Yellow Jacket zone on the left wing side. Hintz behind the net for Carson Riddle, who intercepted, and the Jackets will play it ahead on the left wing. Kagawa has his pocket picked by Quentin Hill, but then the Pointers are going to be whistled for an offside.
Iki Kagawa just inches away from being off to the races there if he could have dangled that puck by the Stevens Point player, but instead a good break up there and ends up just being an offside.
18:42 to play here in this second period, 1-0 Stevens Point. I am John Garver. He is Jason Roan. Abby Hoffman is rinkside. Happy to have everybody along on this Saturday evening. First round of the WIAC tournament. Winner advances, and the losing team is done for the campaign. Puck is in the left wing corner, Yellow Jacket zone. Danzinger's pass hits the referee in the skate as the wrestling match continues in the corner. Now it comes out into the high slot. Pizarchuk with a shot that got tipped, and that bounced in front of the net. Jackets able to get a stick on that. I think it was Isaac DeVoe, and he clears it out into the neutral zone. Now DeVoe has the puck. Passes that one ahead for Pettersson, but it's out of his reach. Proctor's got it now. He'll saucer that one all the way down the ice, and that's going to be icing. Cody Pizarchuk is pleading his case, saying that they interfered with me, so I couldn't play that puck. You weren't getting it.
I thought they timed that hit just about right, and in the NFL, they would have said, no flag, that wasn't a catchable pass.
Not a catchable ball. Face off to Proctor's right. Larson in to take the draw. It's controlled here by Bergstrom at the left point. He tried to take a shot that was blocked, and that one kicks up into the stands here. Thankfully, it didn't have a whole lot on it, so we don't have to worry about needing any medical attention. Face off to Proctor's right. Jackets win the face-off. Axel takes the shot and misses high. A.J. Reed in the right corner. Up top, right point, Bergstrom. He'll send it deep to Omioksa, left wing corner. Now up to the blue line, but Axel couldn't handle the pass, and it comes back out into the neutral zone. Aaron pass comes to Joseph Manning for Stevens Point, and he'll dump it back into Yellow Jacket territory. Skorpic plays it too quickly. Jackets can't get a stick on it. Pointers center, but Hamady has that one hop his stick. Now it's back behind the Yellow Jacket net. Taken here by Bergstrom, and he'll play it to center. Bouncing puck broken up. Now the Jackets regaining control here. They're 3-on-5 as they come across the line, so Larson just plays it deep. Puck comes off of a skate right into the goal crease, and Proctor covers. What's coming off the bench on the change was Blake Setter, was right there for him.
Dangerous chance, but Proctor was reading that one well. He seemed like about the least surprised person when that puck popped right out in front of him.
Face-off is to his right. 17:09 to go in the second period. 1-0 Stevens Point. Jackets win the face-off. Ryder sends it down the left wing boards. Yarmolnik now, left corner. Dropped it back for Setter. Then it was poked off his stick. It's moved around to the left wing boards. Jackets intercept and dump it back in. Proctor leaving it behind the net for Quinton Hill. Hill moves it up the left wing again. Hastings in the middle for Hamady. Hamady knocked off the play by Sam Brennan, who loses the lumber. And a big check by on Schulmeister by Alexei Yarmolnik. Schulmeister slow getting up, holding his left shoulder as the Jackets come back on the attack. Ryder on the left side dumps it in. Behind the net, Nickerson tried to center for Yarmolnik, but he was tied up. Now it comes up to the blue line. Brennan winds and fires, and the save is made by Proctor with Nickerson on the doorstep. That one skipped in and had a little bit of a wobble to it, but Proctor was lined up and made the save without any difficulties there.
Schulmeister bent over on the bench getting some medical attention.
Went off holding the left shoulder.
Yeah. Still not mobilizing that shoulder much at all.
In the right wing corner, Ishmael pokes it behind the net for Dauphiné, who is tied up. Stevens points. Alex Johnson starts up the right wing with it here. Ishmael catches him, not before he got it in the offensive zone. Shimolevsky and Danziger battling forward in the right wing corner. Shimolevsky's going to come out with it. Starts up the right wing side. He's taken into the boards. Now the puck is played back down behind the Yellow Jacket net. Roosevelt tries to poke that away. Pointers regaining control. Sharp angle shot by Shimolevsky is going to go off Skorpic's stick and then up over the glass. And out of play.
We saw Alexei Yarmolnik put that hit on Schulmeister, and Yarmolnik's been a very physical player down the stretch here, and not in a dirty way. He's just not passed up any opportunities to finish checks and create legal body contact. He's played with an edge, and it's been effective for him.
Face-off controlled by the Pointers. The shot from the left point by Norris is blocked. It's free behind the Yellow Jacket net where Carson Riddle will pick it up, and he starts up the right wing. His pass hits a skate, comes back to Axel. Then he throws a rink wide on the left for Dusty Bergstrom. Back to Axel. Now ahead at center as Pettersson tips it into the Stevens Point zone. Eftimovsky will give chase. Sends it hard around the right wing side. Riddle up top. Left point Bergstrom. Into the middle now. He takes a shot that's tipped over the top of the net. In the right wing corner, Pettersson up to the right point. Axel's shot goes wide. Pettersson wraparound attempt at the left post. And Proctor makes the save. With 15:04 to go here in the second period, 1-0 Stevens Point.
Proctor sealing off the bottom of the net with that right leg pad there. He was down early and ready for that wraparound.
Face-off will be to his right. Ishmael wins it back to Roosevelt, now to Ryder. Takes the shot that gets through, and a pad save made by Proctor. Yellow Jackets get 2 forecheckers trapped, and the Pointers come back with Pizarchuk up the right wing. He dumps it in. It's loose behind the goal now where Brennan picks it up. He'll leave for Roosevelt. Roosevelt's pass ahead for Ishmael across the Stevens Point line. Pulls up in the right circle. Throws that one all the way across to the left side. Ryder's shot from the wing is going to go past the net. Picked up behind the goal now by Roosevelt. Now to the right wing board. Ishmael up top. Right point. Brennan walks, fires. That catches traffic in front. Left wing corner, Dauphiné up top at the left point. Ryder walks it to the middle. Takes the shot that's going to go well wide. Right wing corner, Roosevelt behind the net for Ishmael. It comes all the way around to the left corner. Pizarchuk there first. Ryder bumps into him. Clearing attempt held in. Passed out front. Tuo Mioksa now in the right circle. Throws that back across for Dauphiné, but it's read very well by Manning, who picks it off and starts the Pointers back the other way. And then we have a whistle and an offside call on Stevens Point.
Looks like that was involving somebody who was going off and then coming on for a line change there.
Yeah, the guy coming on the ice was in the offensive zone. Always tricky in the second period when you make your line change that way. 14:04 to play here in the second period. 1-0 Stevens Point. Good forechecking shift by the Yellow Jackets there.
Yeah, finally had a little bit of an extended zone time.
Face-off controlled by the Pointers. Quentin Hill all the way back into his own zone, pressured by Tuo Mioksa, who blows a tire. Pointers come back the other way. Puck tipped into the Yellow Jacket zone. Skorpic out. Backhands that up the right wing boards. Pointers sniff that one out. Behind the net, Hintz. Leaving it for Hamady in the left corner. He comes into the high slot, dropping it off for Hastings. Now down low for Hintz. Poke check there to the left side of the net by Danziger. Jackets wrap it around but can't get it out of the zone. It's going to come all the way back. Hastings on the right side. Bumped there by DeVoe. Colangelo for Stevens Point has it on the left wing boards. Carries into the high slot. Drops it for Hastings now. He takes the shot. Skorpic makes the save. Stevens Point says, I see your forecheck and raise you another. It's behind the Yellow Jacket net right now. DeVoe gets crunched as he chops that one around the left side. Reed knocks the man down. Penalty coming. It's going to be on the Yellow Jackets. Puck gets centered into the slot. A shot. It's blocked in front. And A.J. Reed's going to the penalty box here. Well, Quentin Hill of Stevens Point is doubled over in discomfort.
You could hear the boards and glass rattling on that hit from A.J. Reed. Quentin Hill's down to both knees now, not able to get himself off the ice. A couple teammates are helping him off at this point. He tried to make it to the bench on his own power, and he couldn't do it.
Officials are going to talk about it now.
I didn't see the hit. I just heard it.
No, he stepped into him, but it seemed innocuous enough where it was just contact. It didn't look like anything
just heavy contact,
heavy or malicious, you know.
Right.
But yeah,
they took Hill right off the bench, off to the side, and they're checking on him now.
So a discussion going on with the team captains right now.
Meanwhile, Schulmeister is still immobilizing his shoulder himself now on the Stevens Point bench. So he's looking not like a player who might be able to return to this game potentially.
First power play of the night goes to Stevens Point. Time of the penalty, 6:59 on A.J. Reed. Still not exactly sure what the call was. Hitting from behind, apparently, of the 2-minute variety. Pointers on the power play. Shimolevsky now in the right wing corner. Puts it up top. Right circle, Hintz takes the shot. It just goes wide. Rebound picked up behind the net. Pizarchuk to Shimolevsky up top. Dean at the right point. It's going to get past the defenseman Hintz, and now this is Roosevelt shorthanded. Roosevelt drives it to the net. The shot and the save is made by Proctor, and then the rebound goes off the outside of the goal, so the Jackets with a golden opportunity there.
Great play by Roosevelt, going up and under the stick there to be able to create a scoring chance. Almost worked for the Jackets.
He got surprisingly good wood on that shot, too, considering he didn't have full clearance there. Pizarchuk across the Yellow Jacket line, gives it to Dean, now into the slot. Pass hits Markham in the skates, and the Yellow Jackets will pounce on that and send it all the way back down the ice. 1 minute gone in the minor penalty to A.J. Reed. 8 minutes elapsed here, second period, 1-0 Stevens Point. Shimolevsky across the red line, drops it off. Markham over to Dean on the right wing, he'll dump it in. Puck's going to come back around to the left wing corner, Jackets play it behind the net to the right side. Dean's got it. Owen Dean for Stevens Point to Hintz at the right point. A shot gets through and Skorpic makes the save. A lot of traffic in front, and the Yellow Jackets senior goaltender sniffed it out.
Skorpic doing a nice job of tracking that shot through traffic. Not only making the save, but preventing any rebound as well. 40 seconds remaining on this penalty kill for the Jackets.
Face off to the left of Jan Skorpic. Pointers control it. Engelbert at the right point. Slides it down the boards for Hamady. Back up top for Engelbert. To the right corner for Hamady. Now he's going to carry up the boards and throw a pass all the way across. And it'll come back out into the neutral zone. Engelbert will back it up. 20 seconds left in the power play for Stevens Point. Engelbert to center. Hamady on the right wing across the Yellow Jacket line. Hamady sends it around the boards behind the net. All the way up to Mosier at the left point. Cade Shea stepped into that one but couldn't get it out. Now Hamady carries behind the Yellow Jacket net. Right wing corner. Throws that one into the slot. The Yellow Jackets able to break that one up. Out of the penalty box is A.J. Reed, so the PK coming through in nice style there. Yellow Jackets change as Hamady comes back up ice. Alec Hamady takes the shot, saves Skorpic. Huge rebound was right there. And looking for that was Alex Johnson, but a good defensive play preventing that one. Now for the Yellow Jackets, it's Bergstrom. He sends that one over to the right wing for Ishmael. He dumps it into the Stevens Point zone. Pointer center right back out, and they got a 3-on-2 as they come to center. Across the Yellow Jacket line, Johnson, right circle, throws that one. It gets all the way through the save made by Skorpic. Now the Jackets recover, and Dauphiné back the other way. Things opening up a little bit here in the middle stages of the second period. Dauphiné on the right wing, and we get a whistle and an offside call on the Yellow Jackets.
Linesman having a conversation with Justin Dauphiné there.
He's saying that his stick might have been in the zone, but his body was not, I believe.
Sure.
At any rate, the faceoff coming back into the center faceoff circle. So the Pointers with a couple of really good opportunities there. Closing that gap in shots on goal as well here in this second period. Puck bounced into the Yellow Jacket zone and swept into the right wing corner. Ryder ties up his man. Now he comes out with the puck and plays it ahead, but the Pointers are going to intercept that. Markham on the right wing, floats that rink wide onto the left. Shimolevsky there. Brennan strips the puck away from him and puts it behind the net for Ryder. Now up on the left wing for A.J. Reed. Reed throws it ahead. Tuomioksa chasing it down. Left wing corner, Stevens Point zone. He rips that one hard around the boards, but Sam Brennan was all the way over on the left side. Pointers will clear. Now in the neutral zone on the left wing, Tuomioksa. Across the Stevens Point line, Andrew Larson tried to time that just right. Unfortunately, his timing was a tad off, and the Yellow Jackets are called for an offside. I was expecting immediate timeout there.
I was too.
Instead, we play on. Now they got it.
There you go. Maybe, yes.
Get the same gear the Yellow Jackets wear by visiting the Yellow Jacket Sideline store. Browse the latest styles of Yellow Jacket gear, including shirts, hats, sweatshirts, outerwear, and more. The Yellow Jackets sideline store can be found at uwsyellowjackets.com/shop. Yellow Jacket Hockey and Bills Distributing are partnering to benefit Folds of Honor. For the 10th year in a row, every time the Yellow Jackets score a goal at home, Bills Distributing will donate $20 to Folds of Honor, helping provide scholarships and educational assistance for the families of fallen or severely wounded servicemen and women and first responders.
Well, we've talked about the Yellow Jackets challenge in the face-off circle, in the bully circle, throughout the season. Tonight, so far, not too bad for UWS. 15 wins on the draw, 18 losses, so hovering around near 50%.
Which honestly, where they're at right now is probably their season percentage.
Right, yeah. And they've been able to win some defensive zone faceoffs and offensive zone faceoffs as well, so they've given themselves some opportunities in that way. You know, the thing is, it's great if you can dominate it, but you just got to make sure you don't get dominated, most of all.
Right. Yeah, if you're within a couple either way, perfect. Perfect. 9:28 to play here. Second period, still 1-0 Stevens Point.
Stevens Point's best draw man got thrown out, and then the Jackets won it.
Puck on the right wing boards, trying to chop it in was Nickerson, but it's blocked and it's sent back down into Yellow Jacket territory. Isaac DeVoe behind the net, gives to Danziger up the right wing. Nickerson clears it out into the neutral zone. The pass out of the reach of Yarmolnik. Now Danziger has it again. He'll cross the red line and dump it in. It's going to come around the boards to the left wing side where Setter picks it up. Behind the net for Logan Nickerson. He's got it, left wing corner. Up top, DeVoe, left point, walks, takes the shot, looks at a redirection in front, but Nickerson couldn't get that one in on net. Now Setter in the right corner. Puck was a little bit of a hot potato for him, and the Pointers are going to come back with it the other way. Norris carries it across the blue line. He'll dump it into the Yellow Jacket zone. Skorpic out of the net. Stevens Point will be changing personnel here, and Danziger sends it ahead on the left wing for Setter. Blake Setter across the Stevens Point line, takes a shot. The save made by Proctor. The rebound was there. Jackets couldn't get to it. Pointers quickly back on the attack, but they're offside by a mile as Turner Richards couldn't quite hit the brakes in time to keep that train on the tracks.
So Quentin Hill back on the ice here. This is his first shift since getting blasted in the corner by A.J. Reed, so good to see him back out there. I didn't
think much of it until he was like 2/3 of the way at the bench and he dropped.
Right, then it was a little alarming.
Like, okay, there's something happening here. He's definitely in distress. So good to see number 8 for Stevens Point back on the ice.
Schulmeister's now standing close to the boards, like he might be able to come back in this game.
Jackets play it ahead to center. Riddle giving chase into Stevens Point territory. Pointers win the race to the puck. The clearing attempt held in front. Now Kagawa out front, the shot, he scores! Stick side, and we're tied.
Icky opted to pass the first one. The puck ended up coming back to him, and he made no mistake the second time. He shot it.
Tried to sneak that puck through to Carson Riddle in front.
Yeah.
And the old coach in me is going, don't pass up the shot there.
Right.
And then they get it in front, and it comes right back to him. Kagawa ties it.
For UWS Yellow Jackets, his second goal of the season and 9th of his career, number 19, Icky Kagawa. He gets an assist on that goal from number 6, Dusty Bergstrom. Kagawa.
So Bergstrom with the helper. Jackets have pressure going again in the offensive zone. Ishmael's pass goes off of Proctor and comes back the other way, and it's all the way down in the Yellow Jacket zone. Ryder taken into the end boards, puck free along the end wall behind the Yellow Jacket net as Brennan kicks it loose. Now Shimolevsky's got it for Stevens Point, throws it in the slot for Dean, but he's tied up. Now it comes back around to the right wing boards, Shimolevsky again. To Eftimovsky at their right point, back down to Shimolevsky, back up top for Eftimovsky. Tongue twisters left and right, that's a lot of letters, man. Dauphiné Knocks that one back, and then Ishmael will send it back down into Stevens Point territory. Jackets will commence a line change here as Roosevelt stays on to apply some pressure. Now back the other way, the Pointers get it to neutral ice, broken up there and dumped right back in by Isaac DeVoe. As we pass the 13-minute mark of the second period, Yellow Jackets and Pointers tied 1-1. Bunting on the left wing, flips it to neutral ice, knocked out of the air by Danziger. He dumps it in, it goes off the defender, and the Jackets punch that back into the right wing corner. Eftimovsky battling for it there, Kagawa pressuring him. It comes around to the left point. Held in there by DeVoe. Now up top, Danziger feeds it in front, looking for both Pettersson and Kagawa. Unfortunately, it's picked off, and Dean back the other way. Hunter O'Brien sidesteps DeVoe and dumps it in. Danziger giving chase. Danziger behind the net, helped out there by Riddle, but Bunting comes away with it. Now Bunting's pass is picked off. Back the other way, this is Pettersson across the Stevens Point line. To Kagawa, right circle, takes the shot, and Proctor makes the save. That one caught him up high. I think it got in a little quick on him too. He wasn't expecting it that quickly. Puck back down in the Yellow Jacket zone here. 6 minutes remaining, second period. 1-1 our score. The puck played all the way back down into Stevens Point territory. And the Yellow Jackets are going to be whistled for icing. So that goal has kind of energized the home team a little bit, Jason.
Absolutely, a jolt of energy, and then you could see the UWS coaching staff taking advantage of that, following the Kagawa-Riddle-Pettersson line with the top line of Roosevelt, Ishmael, Dauphiné, and then coming right back with Kagawa's line after that on the next shift.
Face-off will be to Skorpik's left. It's controlled by the Yellow Jackets here. Evan Axel behind the goal, leaving it for Dusty Bergstrom. Now ahead on the left wing for Cade Shea. Over to the right wing side, Axel. He crosses the red line and dumps it in. Proctor guides it to the left corner. Shea takes a sharp angle shot that gets blocked. Behind the goal, Cade Shea's got it here now. Shea comes out with it left corner. Up top, Bergstrom left point. Bergstrom throws it down low. Nickerson along the end boards, carries to the left corner. Now he'll leave it for Shea, but it hit a skate. And back the other way, Pizarchuk for Stevens Point. Dropping it off for Shimolevsky. Shimolevsky right wing corner. Pressured there by Bergstrom. Turner Richards rather centers. Jackets break that up. The turnover in front, but the defense able to recover as Shimolevsky had it put right on his stick by Yermolnik. Turner Richards in the right wing corner. Gives behind the net for Mosier. Now back down low. Puck broken up there. Dusty Bergstrom comes away with it, sends it up the right wing. Nickerson can't get it out. Bergstrom picks up the loose puck and feeds it ahead for Shea. Shea now to Yermolnik on the left wing, but Nickerson gets in a step ahead of the playoff side. Honestly, it's probably a good thing. They were tired.
Yeah.
And if that resulted in a turnover or a quick transition, we were in trouble.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot. Gaining the blue line and then turning it over right away just inside the blue line and quick transition the other way. So, yeah, probably not the worst situation to just get that line off the ice.
Quentin Hill for Stevens Point. Over to Hintz on the left wing now as he crosses the red and dumps it in. Ryder for the Yellow Jackets sends it right back out. Out of the reach of Tuo Mioksa. It comes to Sam Brennan, and he'll get the red and dump it in. Proctor out of the net, setting it up. Now he's going to play it around the left wing boards. A.J. Reed running into Bunting there. The puck comes back down behind the Stevens Point net. Hintz has it. Watched by Andrew Larson, who had his stick chopped out of his hands. And much to the chagrin of the Yellow Jacket faithful, there's no penalty call on that. Ryder up the left wing boards for Tuo Mioksa, but he couldn't handle the pass. And the Pointers, Norris, will dump it right back in. A lot of steam on that one, and then it catches the Zamboni door and goes right back against the grain. If I could get my approach shots to do that, I'd shave about 10 strokes off my game. It's going to be tipped back down into the Yellow Jacket zone. Skorpik will come down and cover. And with 3:45 to go in the second period, face-off coming in the Yellow Jacket zone.
New life for the Jackets. Getting that equalizer. Still holding that pretty sizable shots on goal advantage. Scoreboard showing 28-18 currently.
The theme from Rocky.
It's a good pick. I like it.
I'm picturing him running up the stairs right now.
Gonna fly now.
At City Hall in Philadelphia. We were talking about Rocky movies before the game tonight. Puck is behind the Yellow Jacket net. Ishmael goes to clear, and that goes up into the netting. We got to talking about Rocky. It was Paul Bittner who said, even though Rocky 6, which is the Rocky Balboa movie. Not the best one, but the speech that he gives to his son outside of Adrian's place was incredible.
So good script writing in that one.
Yeah, it really was. But you go back to all the other ones, 1 through 4, absolute classics.
Yeah.
Puck coming down in the Stevens Point zone, chasing it down O'Brien, pressured by Dauphiné, forcing him up the right wing boards, and it comes to center. Markham on the right board. Passes in the middle for Shimolevsky. He crosses the Yellow Jacket blue line. Shimolevsky down to the left corner. Danziger knocks the puck away from him. Then they both fall down. The puck loose behind the net. Isaac DeVoe scoops it up, and he'll start the Jackets back the other way. DeVoe up the right wing across the red line into the Stevens Point zone. Cuts it to the middle. All the way over to the left circle now. DeVoe fans on the shot. Lost a glove in there as well. And the puck is going to come back the other way. Pointers across the Yellow Jacket line. Shimolevsky rather takes a shot wide. Now the puck loose. Picked up by Kagawa. Colangelo watching him, so he leaves it for Bergstrom, who flips it to neutral ice. It goes off a glove right to Kagawa across the line. Pulls up, right circle, fires, and misses just high. Love the change of direction there and completely catching the defense off guard. Now Riddle plays it back for Evan Axel up the right wing. Tipped into the offensive zone by Pettersson. Manning turning it over right corner. Pettersson's got it. Pushes it to the left wing corner. Riddle giving chase. Pizarchuk there first. Tried to clear, but it was knocked down on the left wing boards by Bergstrom. Pettersson comes out with it. Up top, left point Carson Riddle. Right point Evan Axel takes the shot. Proctor the save. Rebound to the left wing corner, right wing corner, Setter's got it. Now down low behind the net, Pettersson. Pettersson right corner coming out with it. Slides it back up top. At the right point, Axel takes the shot. That hits traffic in front. It's going to be played back out into the neutral zone here, but the Jackets right back on the attack. Now Pizarchuk for Stevens Point flips that one into the Yellow Jacket zone, chasing it down Evan Axel. Up ice comes Tyler Ryder for Blake Setter. Nickerson giving chase. It's tied up in his skates. Setter comes out with it here. It's going to come back around to the right wing side. All the way back around to the left as that thing rides the rail. Setter left corner. Gets away from the check. Wraparound attempt right side of the net. That's not going to go. Now back behind the goal. The puck kicks to the left corner. Nickerson up top, left point Ryder. He goes to play it deep. It's blocked, and it's going to come back the other way. Owen Dean up the right wing across the Yellow Jacket line. Takes the shot. That one's steered away by the blocker of Skorpic. Now the Jackets back the other way. Blake Setter on the left wing. Flips that into the right corner. It's going to come down. Nickerson now for Yarmolnik along the end board, but he's tied up. And the Pointers are going to come back on the attack with Engelbert feeding it ahead for Dean. 40 seconds to go here, second period. Yellow Jackets and Pointers tied 1-1. Bunting in the right wing corner throws that one in front. It goes off the stick of Eftimovsky. Now he slides it up to the left point. Poked away there by Justin Dauphiné, and he's off to the races, but Proctor is going to come out to play that puck. Pointer faithful wanting a contact with the goalie call on that one, but I think there was a bit of acting involved.
Just a bit.
Comes back down behind the Yellow Jacket net. Skorpic plays that one away. Puck gets caught up in the skates of the referee. Pointers get it back. It's played by Eftimovsky behind the goal now. Markham throws that in front. Dauphiné will intercept. And the Jackets will clear that one out, bringing the second period to a close. Mighty entertaining period of hockey there, Jason, and the Yellow Jackets were turbocharged after getting that goal from Miki Kagawa.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a huge momentum swing for the Yellow Jackets, and they rode it from there, creating a bunch more scoring chances, finished the period with a 30-19 edge on shots on goal. Score equalized, and feeling pretty good about this third period, like you said. Yeah. Very, very entertaining period of hockey there.
And it's going to go back to, something that my coach has always said. You win the third, you win the game. And that's kind of where the Yellow Jackets are right now. If they win this third period, they're looking at picking up a victory here and advancing to the semifinals next week. And I'm looking rinkside.
Our fearless rinkside reporter is just waiting for Chris Ishmael to come off the ice.
I was wondering if that's who she was going to grab here. It's always the last guy, right? I think he's doing some adjustments to his skates while the promotions crew gets ready for this evening's edition of Chuck-a-Puck.
Here we go.
Ooh, that's really loud. All right. Apparently the wireless mic is working. Let's throw it ringside for Abby.
All right, Chris, 2 periods in the book and such a big game tonight. What's working for you guys tonight?
Moving our feet and taking the body. Coach has been harping on us to keep it down low. They can't play with us. We know that. I think everyone here knows that. The shots show it, and we're working to stay with that and keep going.
Absolutely, and you've swept them this entire season. Last weekend there was a little bit of rowdiness in the 3rd period. Can you expect that going into the final period tonight?
Absolutely. The way the game ended last time, we don't like them. So we want to give it to them.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. Back up to you guys.
The entire season.
Thank you very much, Abby. And that was
bringing the fire.
That's as candid as you can get. Holy cow.
I love it.
Wow. Chris Ishmael not pulling any punches there whatsoever.
That's exactly what you want your players saying.
Right.
You know, if you look back and watch sports broadcasts and interviews of the 70s and 80s, when players would actually talk like normal people and not just give you prepackaged sound bites, would actually venture to tell you what they're thinking, that's what it sounded like.
Yep.
And what he said is exactly what you want your players to say. You want them to feel like this team can't skate with you, you're going to take it to them, and you're going to finish them off.
I'm all for that. Okay, I am all for that. But I'm also a realist, and I'm looking at this scoreboard right now going, it's 1-1.
Right.
So let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. But dynamite interview ringside there by Abby Hoffman. Thank you very much. 1-1 after 2. We'll take a timeout and come back with our second intermission, sponsored by Hovland Incorporated right after this. This is Yellow Jacket Hockey on 91.3 KUWS Superior and the WIAC Sports Network.
Yeah.
Stuff. Back here at Westman Arena, it's our second intermission sponsored by Hovland Incorporated. First round of the WIAC men's ice hockey tournament is 2 periods in the books. It's been a dandy here tonight. Jason Superior and Stevens Point tied 1-1.
Yeah, this has been a great game. 2 teams playing for their lives at this point, and you can hear that intensity in the interviews. You can see it on the ice. This has been great stuff, really entertaining hockey.
Stevens Point came out and kind of carried the play in the early going of the first period. They popped that goal in the first 39 seconds of play. Yellow Jackets almost seemed like they were stunned by it a little bit. You know, when you catch that first haymaker in a boxing match right away, you know, you kind of jerk back a little bit and go, geez, I wasn't expecting that right away.
It's the old Mike Tyson line. Everybody has a plan until they get hit in the face, right?
Exactly. And the Jackets got hit in the face in the very early going, and it took them 6, 7, 8 minutes to kind of shake that off and then find their stride a little bit in that first period. They carried it over in the second period, which up until the last couple of weeks has been dreadful. And that was a pretty good second period that they put in there.
Yeah, I think they got a little jolt out of having Roosevelt back on the ice, and it was feisty right from the start of that second period, and then obviously scoring the goal was really the spark that they needed.
Yeah, let's talk about that goal. It was Iki Kagawa's second of the season from Dusty Bergstrom at 11:49 of the second period, tying the game. Kagawa tried to make the pass on the initial play. Didn't work, but it came right back to him.
And Iki's a playmaker. I mean, we know that's his style. He's just as apt to pass as shoot, and in that situation, we both kind of cringed when he made that pass, but then it came right back to him, and he stuffed it in short side.
Second goal of the season for him. Second goal in as many weeks, and it makes me really happy to see him score goals. One, because I love the kid. He's a great kid, and then he's so exuberant when he does score those goals, and it was so hard on him this year when things just weren't going right. He's out for opening night with that injury, and then he gets back in the lineup and takes 3 penalties in the first period of his first game this year. Then takes another penalty in the first period the next night, and everybody's going, wait a second, you've already, in 4 periods of hockey, exceeded your PIMs for all of last year. What in the world is going on here? And it took him so long to get on track that the last few weeks, last weekend he was great. The weekend before against Stout, we watched him and went, we're starting to see the old Icky again. It seems like it's coming back now.
Yeah, and he is so dynamic out there. He's such a shifty skater. He really brings something that very few players in the WIAC bring. I mean, his playing style is different. Yeah. It stands out. It's dynamic. It's exciting. And he obviously brings an element to this team when he's at his best that is a real spark offensively.
And it's hard to defend.
Right.
You know, I mean, he's
not a straight line skater.
No, and I was going to say this is a extreme example, but it's like Barry Sanders.
Right.
You know, because Barry Sanders wasn't a straight line runner. He had great straight line speed, but he would cut, he would dash. He was always, you know, if you miss him, just wait, because he's going to come back around that way. That's kind of how they described him. Icky kind of plays that way because he's very shifty, and he does change direction better than just about anybody I've seen.
Yeah, he's fantastic on his edges.
So he got the goal again at 11:49, his second of the year from Dusty Bergstrom, and that tied the game at 1. And then from that point on in the second period, the Yellow Jackets carried the play.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you could hear that in Chris Ishmael's comments. It was really what happened after that Kagawa goal, where UWS really did carry the play and seemed to have a pretty sizable advantage in the momentum and the quality of chances and the possession time the rest of that period.
Shots on goal in the second period. The Yellow Jackets had 12 for a 2-period total of 30, and Stevens Point had 10 for a 2-period total of 19. A lot of those Stevens Point shots came in the early going of the second period, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say Jan Skorpic made a couple big saves early in the frame that kept this thing at 1-0.
Yeah, he's been battling tonight. I don't think it's been a night where he would tell you he feels his most comfortable in goal. He's kind of like that pitcher that maybe doesn't have his best stuff tonight, but he's going to battle and try to keep this team in the game, and he's done that through 2 periods. And at the times where he's needed his teammates to pick him up, I can think of one big rebound he kicked out where Tyler Ryder was right there to scoop it up and get it out of harm's way. So his teammates have been there to pick him up too. And hey, I mean, that's what a team's all about, right? You got to fight for each other.
And that was a big play by Ryder too, because that's a 2-0 game right there, and we're looking at things completely different right now.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
So that was a big play there. Jan Skorpic has been very, very good. At the other end, Alex Proctor's been great.
Yeah, he's been excellent. You know, you really can't fault him much on that goal. It was not something that he was probably going to be able to do a whole lot about. He's made a lot of great saves on pucks that were really challenging chances against on him. He's held them in the game and has given the Pointers everything they need in this one so far.
One penalty in the hockey game so far. It came in the second period on the Yellow Jackets' A.J. Reed. The penalty kill, very, very good on that power play.
Yeah, and I mean, the Pointers were able to create some good looks on that power play too, but the PK got the job done, and again, it was a team effort. You know, you mix in a few good saves from Skorpic and also just a few good defensive plays, a couple block shots for the Jackets. Really a blood and guts kind of doing all they could on that PK, and it was a big one for them.
So we're 8.5 minutes away from the start of this third period. We're tied at 1. You're in that locker room right now. How are you talking to this team?
Well, if I'm in the Yellow Jackets locker room right now, I'd want to encourage them to kind of keep building on what they did in the second half of that period. You know, just keep building on that momentum. Obviously, keep your feet moving. Keep doing the things you're doing. You know, I mean, I think I don't think there's really anything more that needs to be said. I don't think there's any changes to the game that need to happen at this point. Just need to keep applying the pressure and get that next goal.
Yellow Jackets and Pointers tied 1-1 here at Westman Arena in Superior. It's our second intermission sponsored by Hovland Incorporated. We'll take a quick break and come back with more of our intermission programming right after this. This is Yellow Jacket Hockey on 91.3 KUWS Superior and the WIAC Sports Network. Back at Westman Arena, about 6 minutes away from the start of the third period. The Yellow Jackets and Stevens Point tied 1-1 after 40. It's been a good one here in the first round of the WIAC Men's Hockey Tournament. Winner of this one advances to the semifinals next weekend, where they will take on UW Stout at the Finetti Community Center in Menominee. Stout, the regular season champion in the WIAC. The other semifinal already set. It will feature UW River Falls at UW Eau Claire. So it'll be 7 p.m. next Saturday at the Hobbs Ice Arena in Eau Claire. So what's going on?
Well, we're going to go back in the time machine tonight 50 years, exactly 50 years, to February 21st, 1976, and one of the strangest days in UWS sporting history. I was almost 2. Yeah, there you go. You know, this time of year, there's weird things that happen. You get a lot of sporting events going on, you know, in addition to hockey.
It's crossover season for a reason.
It's crossover season.
Yep.
So even 50 years ago on this date, it was crossover season. The hockey side of the story isn't all that unusual, aside from the fact that UWS's opponent on this night, UW River Falls, was actually not a conference opponent at that point in time in 1976. But it was a tough night for the Falcons, a great one for the Yellow Jackets. Jackets won 7-5 to complete the weekend sweep. They won big, like 7-0 the night before. So big weekend for the Yellow Jackets, big night for the Jackets. Scott Van Dam scored twice for UWS, and John Wojciechowski potted the game winner. So all good, all happy.
Buff and Woj, all right.
Yeah, all good, all happy. But over at Gates Gym, formerly known as the Gates Physical Education Building.
Well, technically it still is the Gates Physical Education Building.
Yeah, so over at Gates Gym, just across campus, over at Gates Gym, there was a problem. A men's basketball game was scheduled to start at 8 p.m. between UW Eau Claire and UWS. which meant that the warm-ups were set to begin at 7:25. And as you know all too well, like, there are specific times and there are rules, and when those rules aren't followed, there are consequences for this stuff. So warm-ups are supposed to start at 7:25. The largest basketball crowd of the season was filing in. This was a big game, particularly for Eau Claire. They were playing for a conference championship.
And in that era of the mid to late 1970s is probably when Yellow Jacket men's basketball was at its peak. As long as you're not talking about the 1930s, that was the era of the Killer Bees that they talked about with Dr. Dunk, Dave Cochran, and players like that. Willie the Fly Reed.
Nice.
Great nicknames.
Nice, yes.
But they were the Killer Bees at that point, and they drew well.
Yeah.
They were an exciting bunch to watch. So you've got them, you've got a team playing for a conference title.
Yeah.
That building was going to be rocking.
Yeah, so best crowd of the season. Place is filling up, getting ready for warm-ups, 7:25. Unfortunately, 7:25, warm-ups couldn't start because the court was filled with gymnasts and gymnastics equipment.
The gymnastics meet was still going on.
Yes, you see, Gates Gym was also hosting the Wisconsin State University Conference gymnastics meet that day, which began at 9 a.m. and somehow was still
10 hours
happening.
Later, was still going?
10 hours later.
Wow.
With routines on the balance beam and uneven bars, plus a juggling demonstration by a UW Eau Claire gymnast using oranges on the basketball court at that very moment.
Where in the world did you find this one?
UWS Athletic Director Mertz Mortarelli, in whose honor the gym is now named.
Yep, the gym is named after
was
him.
in Eau Claire for the conference wrestling meet.
Yep.
So, of course, 1976, emergency phone calls forthcoming. Mertz says, move the gymnasts out, put them in a different gym. Assistant athletic director and gymnastics coach say, no way, we're sticking with it. Meanwhile, the Eau Claire and UWS basketball coaches are sitting there looking at each other. The Eau Claire coach says, I hate to tell you this, but I think you just forfeited a game. And the Yellow Jackets coach looks back at him and says,
Yep.
I think you're right.
Oh, my God.
Like 40 minutes after the game was supposed to start, they finally did play the basketball game just for the fans' benefit.
Right.
But it was officially in the books as a forfeit for UWS. And fortunately, in 1976, on this date, things took a turn for the better on the UWS campus and their athletic facilities in the next week or two.
Wow. Were you looking at the archive of the Peptimist when you found that one?
I was not. I was in the Duluth News Tribune on that one, but yes, it was entertaining. And then, of course, right after that, that was when at Westman Arena, the NAIA National Tournament was held. Mm-hmm. So no facilities problems at that event as far as we know, and a national championship banner hanging here at Westman Arena as a result of it.
That's tremendous. You know, and that's before the days of the SIDs and all that stuff. So I'm just imagining the poor SID having to explain this to everybody that a basketball game is supposed to start at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Mind you, is going to be delayed an hour still because of a 10-hour gymnastics meet. Wow.
Oranges. Juggling oranges.
It's a skill.
1976.
Wow.
Small college athletics. There you go.
Both teams back on the ice for the start of the third period. No jugglers here. Jan Skorpic with 18 saves, defends the goal to our left. Alex Proctor with 29 stops, defends to our right. Fresh 20 on the clock, 5-on-5 to start. Jackets win the draw. It's dumped into the Stevens Point zone. Aiden Mosier around the left side. Shimolevsky awkwardly holding the zone for a moment was Evan Axel. Now the Yellow Jackets in the neutral zone on the right side. Roosevelt tried to go up the boards for Ishmael. That one's not going to go. Puck comes back down into the Yellow Jacket zone. Backing it up here. Evan Axel up on the right wing side. Roosevelt in the middle for Ishmael. He'll cross the line and send it in. Dauphiné giving chase. Manning crunches him with a huge check in the right wing corner. Dauphiné popping right back up. At the right point, Brennan's shot is tipped in front, then bounces to the right corner. Ishmael has it on the half board. Gives it down low for Dauphiné. Behind the net over into the left wing corner. Roosevelt tied up by Manning. Johnson in to help out. Loose puck picked up here. Ishmael tried to go out front for Dauphiné. That was blocked. Now Manning throws it up the right wing boards. Comes to neutral ice. Ryder gets a stick on it, but Stevens Point will regain control, and they'll dump it in. Brennan behind the net, taken off the play by Owen Dean. He throws that one right up the slot. Now at the left point, Hintz. Over to the right point, Hill takes the shot. That's blocked in front by Ryder. Now Kagawa gets it out into the neutral zone and starts up the left wing with speed. Cuts it to the middle, but it's poked off his stick at the last minute. Still allowed the rest of the mates to change. Now Kagawa causes the turnover in the left corner. Turned and tried to center. That's not going to go. Danziger holding in the clearing attempt at the right point. Kagawa behind the net centers that one, but it's picked off. And Stevens Point will send that back down the other way. Danzinger's got it for the Yellow Jackets now. Sends it ahead on the right wing for Pettersson. Pettersson across the line for Kagawa. He gets knocked down. Danziger right point wrists one in on goal, and a glove save is made by Proctor. And we'll get a face-off coming up here in the Stevens Point zone. 18-10 to play in the third period. Yellow Jackets and Pointers tied 1-1.
See Isaac DeVoe coming on the ice here. It's been interesting down the stretch for him, getting some more minutes.
Yeah, we talked about that with Coach McKenna last weekend a little bit, how he hadn't played since November.
Right.
And getting in the lineup last weekend and was really good. Very strong, very solid. Played within himself, which is exactly what they wanted him to do the whole time. Danziger with a shot from the right side, blocked. DeVoe feeds that one in front. Had an opportunity to shoot, I think, but that one doesn't find its way to the net. Now the Yellow Jackets setter dumps it back into the Stevens Point zone. It comes to the left wing corner. Yarmolnik breaks up the clearing attempt. So Norris will send it back behind the net. Setter wins the race to the puck. He'll send it right back behind the net. Now Yarmolnik gets their first left corner. At the left point, Axel walks, takes the shot and misses high. On the right wing, this is Nickerson for the Jackets. Goes behind the net for Yarmolnik. They tie up along the end boards. The puck comes free and the Pointers have it. Norris, now he's knocked off the play by Nickerson. Eftimofsky picks up the puck and he'll start Stevens Point back the other way. Evan Axel at his own line, throws that one ahead. Off a Stevens Point stick, it comes to Nickerson. Nickerson in the right circle, takes the shot. Proctor the save, and he'll hold on to it. Blake Setter looking for the loose puck. No rebound there, and a face-off coming in the Pointer zone.
Nickerson did a nice job getting that shot through the traffic and not getting it blocked. Ends up leading to an offensive zone face-off.
Face-off will be to the left of Alex Proctor. 17-17 to go in the third. Jackets controlling the face-off. Reed lets it go to the left point. Ryder takes it down low for Larson, left corner. Behind the net for Reed, over to the right wing side. Tuomioxa's got it there. Rupe Tuomioxa has it poke checked off his stick. Larson gets it right back and throws it into the right wing corner. Manning there first for the Pointers. He goes to clear. That one hits that same spot again. It kicks right back behind the net. And the Pointers will take that puck and send it back the other way. It comes all the way down, and that's going to be icing. I wonder what that's hitting down there.
Yeah, it's 3 or 4 times it's done it.
Is there a chunk of ice, or are the boards not quite... Is the door not closing all the way?
I wanted to see some home cooking, maybe a fortunate bounce in Westman to try to get things going, but so far hasn't benefited the Jackets.
These are new boards in glass this year, and we haven't had home cooking off our boards in a decade. Jackets win the face-off. The shot taken by Roosevelt, and that one just misses wide. Pointers coming back the other way. They'll dump it into the Yellow Jacket zone. Skorpic out of the net as Stevens Point changes. DeVoe comes out from behind the goal and plays it ahead off the stick of Roosevelt into the neutral zone, but Hintz will take it there and dump it right back in. Behind the Yellow Jacket net, DeVoe feeds it for Danziger, now up the middle for Dauphiné. Justin Dauphiné across the Stevens Point line, gives to Ishmael right circle. The shot is blocked. Puck comes around to the left wing corner. Roosevelt was waiting for it, but a good job by Engelbert to step in front of that and break it up. On the right wing boards, Roosevelt tries to poke that one down the wall. It then pops in the air, hits him in the back. And the Pointers will finally muscle that one between the D, and it's going to come down into Yellow Jacket territory. Axel leaving it behind the net. Danzinger's got it now. They'll slide that one over to Kagawa on the left wing. Pass kind of hopped up on him a little bit. It's going to come back down behind the Yellow Jacket net. Axel wraps it hard up the right side. off the stick of Pettersson, and that'll come all the way down, and it's going to be an icing call on the Yellow Jackets. 15:32 to go, third period. We're tied at 1.
Unfortunate there on that hard rim. Pettersson had a lot of open ice in front of him if he could have corralled that one, but he was a step and a half away from being able to really control it.
Riddle in to take the draw for the Yellow Jackets, the left of Jan Skorpic. Alec Hamady will do the honors for Stevens Point. It's controlled by the Pointers. O'Brien at the right point. Drops it behind the back to Eftimovsky. The shot gets through, and then it's picked up in the left circle by the Pointers. That one hit something in front and ricocheted into the left circle. Now Hastings right corner for Pizarchuk. He'll play it back around the boards up to the left point for O'Brien. Pettersson takes him hard into the boards. It comes up top. Hamady with a shot. Tipped in front. No idea where that one went. And we're going to get a stoppage as it was played with a high stick. As that one was hit in front. And I lost sight of it completely. And I saw Jan Skorpic head on a swivel trying to find that thing. Thankfully, the Pointers played it with a high stick, so she wouldn't have counted anyway.
Wow, Pizarchuk really giving it to the officials.
Yeah, he's really yelling.
Not happy with that call. Now the officials are going over to the bench and explaining it to the Stevens Point coaching staff.
Head coach Tyler Krieger in his 9th season. 167 wins, 53 losses, and 20 ties. His all-time mark includes a national championship.
We're going to relocate this face.
And they're going to say that maybe they messed up. So it'll be coming back to the Yellow Jacket side of center. So I'm assuming what they're saying is the Jackets played it with a high stick. And to make good on everything, they're just going to have it in the neutral zone. Dusty Bergstrom now for the Yellow Jackets. Passes it ahead for Shea, and he'll bounce that into the Stevens Point zone. Yarmalnik gets a stick on it, and then it's chopped off as his stick. He'll go up into the Stevens Point bench.
Jackets have actually taken an advantage of face-offs here.
They win another one. Bergstrom on the left wing board, sends it down low. Nickerson behind the net. Pinned to the end wall, in to help out is Cade Shea. Puck is going to be worked free by Mosier. He'll pass it up the left wing. Shimolevsky rink wide on the right. Off the stick of Bergstrom that comes right onto the tape of Markham. A shot. Save was made by Skorpic. And the rebound was right there for Shimolevsky, and he whiffed on it. Back the other way come the Yellow Jackets with Yarmalnik to center. Throws a pass across for Nickerson, but it was a little behind him. Now the Pointers back on the attack with Shimolevsky. Loses in the neutral zone, then gets it back, and he'll dump it into Yellow Jacket territory. Isaac DeVoe behind his goal. Giving it for Danziger. Nearly runs into Yarmalnik, and then he turns it over in front, but the Jackets able to recover. And A.J. Reed will take it back the other way, 1-on-4, smartly dumping that one into the right corner. He picks it up and throws behind the net. Wanted Tuo Mioksa there. Pointers break that one up and clear. At center, 3-on-2 if they hurry as they come across the Yellow Jacket line. Engelbert on the left wing, gives it down low. Owen Dean coming up to the top of the left circle. In the high slot, Hines walks, fires, and misses high. Karam off the end board, picked up by the Yellow Jackets here as Larson gets away from the check of Owen Dean. And they'll throw it ahead at center for Reed. A.J. Reed across the Stevens Point line. Hintz strips the puck away from him. Now behind the goal, Quentin Hill wrapped around the right wing for Engelbert. Jackets got to get back here as Engelbert carries it ahead to center across the Yellow Jacket line. Cuts all the way over to the left wing and sends it down low for Hintz. It comes into the right wing corner. Tuo Mioksa is going to pick it up. He whiffs on the clearing attempt. Bouncing puck, however, goes off Hintz. And we're going to get an offside call here on the Pointers.
Hintz has been good in this one. He's had a few key breakups in the defensive zone, and another good one there.
I liked him a lot last weekend, too, when we were down there for 2.
And solid in the D zone. Meanwhile, Pointers carrying the play here over the last few minutes, definitely getting the better of the chances.
Exactly sure what's going on there, but the faceoff comes out. Okay, that's for the origination of the pass. That's it. In the neutral zone, Axel rims it hard around. Pointers come away with it here, and Pizarchuk comes to center. He'll get the red line and send it in. Skorpic sets it up. Axel wraps it around onto the right wing where Dauphiné has it. Dauphiné tried to throw that one ahead for Roosevelt, and it goes off the linesman and stays in the Yellow Jacket zone. Now Ishmael ahead for Roosevelt. Kicks that puck down to the right wing corner and gives chase. It's going to be wrapped up the left wing boards and back the other way. The Pointers had it. Brennan breaks it up and dumps it in, but Roosevelt was actually behind the net. So it's going to take him a bit to get out of the zone. Pointers will take the free exit as Norris comes to center, giving it to O'Brien. O'Brien across the Yellow Jacket line to the left wing for Colangelo. Now down low, Markham. Or check that, it's not Markham, it's Hastings, excuse me. Puck is loose on the right wing side. Jackets get it here, and Kagawa will clear to neutral ice. Now Carson Riddle. Feeds it over on the left side for Tyler Ryder. That pass had a little too much as it was spinning away from him. He never could catch up to it. Now in the offensive zone for the Jackets, left corner, Kagawa. Carries it up to the left circle, blows a tire, feeds it down low again for Riddle. Back up top at the left point, Bergstrom takes the shot. That hits traffic in front. Riddle able to hold the zone as the puck is played back down the right wing boards. It comes behind the Stevens Point net. Manning's got it here now, and he'll clear that out to the neutral zone. Evan Axel for the Yellow Jackets plays with it in front of his own net. Nearly cost him there as Hamady had it. And his centering pass broken up. Now Colin Pettersson for the Jackets coming back the other way. He'll cross the red line and play it softly to the right wing corner. Yellow Jackets in the midst of a line change here. As the Pointers go to clear, Danziger gets up and knocks that one down. Puck kicking around at the blue line. Yarmolnik has it here. He'll rifle it deep. It comes around to the right wing corner for Setter. Setter taken into the boards by Mosier. Setter gets away as we pass the 9-minute mark of the third period. Tied at 1 from Westman Arena in Superior. Nickerson behind the Stevens Point net. There's a pass to the left corner for Blake Setter, who bounces off the check. Now he's pinned to the wall. He gets free, takes a sharp angle shot that goes off the outside of the goal. Ryder high slot. Over to the left circle, a shot taken by Setter, blocked in front. Clearing attempt knocked down, and we're going to get a whistle, and a hand pass will be called here on Stevens Point. And the faceoff will stay in the defensive zone.
Credit to Danziger. He needed all 6'6" to keep that puck in. He jumped up, gloved it, got it down, and ended up being able to create that whole ensuing sequence for UWS there in the attacking zone.
10:38 to play, third period. Yellow Jackets and Pointers tied 1-1. Dauphiné in the left wing corner now for the Yellow Jackets, trying to get away from Manning, but he's pinned. Dauphiné still working it along the kick plate. Finally does manage to get away. He's got it right corner. Wanted to go up top for Bergstrom, but that's picked off by Shimolevsky. Shimolevsky to center. Poke checked at the Yellow Jacket line by Evan Axel. Yellow Jackets will regroup now as Bergstrom carries up the left side. Feeds for Ishmael, who dumps it in. Behind the net, Hintz gets away from Roosevelt. Check that. Roosevelt takes the puck from him, then loses his footing. It comes up on the left wing boards. Pettersson sweeps it deep. Pointers get it back. Now on the left side, at center, Bunting dumping it down into the Yellow Jacket zone. Wicked hop off the end boards there, and Skorpic plays it away from trouble. Now Engelbert moves it back behind the net for Dean. Engelbert coming out with it here. He sends it up top for Hintz. A one-timer, and that just misses wide. Rebound shot from the left circle, or right circle rather, excuse me, and that one doesn't go. Now it comes back up to the line for Hintz. Holding the zone as he toes that blue line. Now he gets a lane, has it in the right circle. Tries to feed in front. Jackets break it up. Second attempt ends up behind the goal. Pointers applying some pressure here now as we've passed the midpoint of the third period. Tied at 1. Dean in the right wing corner. Gives it behind the net for Hintz. Now Dean back on the right side again. He'll send it hard around the boards. Bunting giving chase. Pettersson collides with him. Puck comes free and the Jackets come back the other way. This is Pettersson and Kagawa. 2-on-3 across the line. Pettersson tried to drive it to the net, but Quentin Hill with a nice poke check there to get it away from trouble. Now the puck is going to be played up into center, and that's going to hit the scoreboard.
Hit Sparty right in the head.
Right in the head. I don't like when it hits the scoreboard because you never know when the connections are going to break and things are going to go off on that thing. Always makes me a little nervous.
Yes, we have had some moments with that scoreboard this year, but it seems to have endured that shot okay. All the lights are still on.
On this side.
On this side,
Who knows
anyway.
what they're seeing on the other three sides of this thing.
Well, 9 minutes and 3 seconds left for one of these teams to extend their season and one of these teams to start dusting off the golf clubs.
You know, you're midway through the period. Yellow Jackets have 3 shots. The Pointers have 2.
Yeah.
So it kind of tells you how things have definitely tightened up a little bit.
Yes. And I would say the Pointers have had the better of the play, the better of the chances, despite only having, a small number of shots on goal.
He's going to signal Abby down there and just have her turn the mic on and say, what's the temperature down by that bench? How are the Yellow Jackets here in this third period? Are they tense? Are they talking? Are they quiet? I don't think she has her mic handy.
Ozone face-off here coming for the Jackets.
9:03 to play. And what has been a dandy here. Jackets win the draw. Axel gives it down low for Reed. Back up to Axel, right point. He pulls it to the middle of the ice. Now to the left point. Bergstrom shot blocked by Pizarchuk. Larson regains control. His shot blocked in front. And O'Brien will clear it for Stevens Point out into the neutral zone. Puck coming back in Yellow Jacket territory now as Colangelo lumberjacking on Dusty Bergstrom a little bit, but the Jackets come back the other way, up the left wing, across the line, fed out front to Toviosa, the shot and a glove save made by Alex Proctor. Great feed from the left wing by Andrew Larson. Rupe just in a little too tight, couldn't get a move off.
Yeah, high speed for Rupe there. Puck got a little bit tight on him. Great pass, though, from Andrew Larson, like you said. A great chance. I bet he probably scores that one 70% of the time. Unfortunately, that just ended up being the 30.
Jackets controlling the draw. Blake Setter on the left wing. Carries behind the Stevens Point net. Wraparound attempt goes right to the left post. And in a little too tight was Alexei Yarmolnik. Back come the Pointers to center. Pizarchuk. That's Markham rather knocked off the play as the Yellow Jackets clear it back to the Stevens Point line. Now it's taken by Manning and dumped into the Yellow Jacket zone. Brennan chasing it down. From a sharp angle, Shimolevsky rifles one in on net, and Skorpic makes the save. He'll hang on to that.
Tremendous effort by Blake Setter there. Coming back on the back check, putting pressure on the puck carrier, and really short-circuiting that zone entry, or at least making it far less dangerous. They know what's at stake now.
Yeah, they definitely do. Face off to the right of Jan Skorpic here. Pointers win this one. Mosier from the left point takes the shot, and that one misses wide. A lot of traffic in front of Skorpic on that one. Now behind the net, the puck hits the back of the goal. Dean in the left wing corner. Tried to go down low for Engelbert, but that one broken up. Good play by Danziger to muscle that thing up the right wing boards. Yellow Jackets will start a line change here as Mosier backhands it into Yellow Jacket territory. Engelbert's going to win the race to the puck. Tips it over to the left corner, or right corner rather, for Bunting. Now Ishmael falls down. The puck gets away from him. Bunting behind the goal. Carries to the left wing corner. Axel following him up the boards. Bunting sends it back down low. Owen Dean behind the goal. Comes out with it right wing side. Dean sends it to the right circle. A shot that's going to miss wide on the one-timer by Quentin Hill. Hintz holds in at the left point. Jackets try to clear, but Ishmael's attempt knocked down. Now Roosevelt ahead on the right wing for Ishmael, and he'll feather that into the Stevens Point zone. Hintz breaks up the play. Feeds it up for Hamady, who gets around Dauphiné and comes back the other direction with speed. Across the line, a shot. Skorpic to save the rebound there, and it's just pushed wide. Right on the doorstep, Hunter Hastings pushes it wide of the goal. Now Hastings has it behind. Centering feed in front. It goes off the Yellow Jackets. Skorpic thought he had it, and Ryder able to clear that one away. That's 2 goals he's saved tonight. Now behind the net, Ryder around the left wing, Roosevelt. He doesn't get it out of the zone as the Pointers are applying pressure here with 6.5 to go. Finally, the Jackets go to clear, and they do get it down in the Stevens Point zone. Line change in progress here. Pizarchuk to Hastings on the left wing. Rising shot, glove save Skorpic. And the Yellow Jackets need the reset.
Yeah, good time for a whistle there for UWS. Pointers applying tremendous pressure. Some scary moments there for the Jackets. Pucks rolling dangerously close to the goal line.
.616 remaining here in this Third period. Yellow Jackets and Pointers tied 1-1.
Pointers with a clean win of the draw there, but it was whistled down and nullified. We'll do it again.
To the right of Jan Skorpic. Excuse me. They win it cleanly again. O'Brien at the left point. Passes it down to Shimilevsky on the left board. Back up top right point. O'Brien, the one-timer, saves Skorpic. He'll hold on. D-zone face-offs, man. Gotta have them.
Yeah, going to go over to the other circle to the left of Skorpic for this one. We'll see if the Jackets adjust who takes the draw. Looks like Riddle will stay on to take the face-off here. On his strong side for this one.
Riddle has won 7 of 17 tonight.
Pointers jumped the gun on that one, so we'll reset it one more time.
Pointers win it clean again. Norris at the right point. Gives to Shimilevsky on the right board. Takes the shot. Skorpic the save. Big rebound. Kicked up the slot. The shot. They score.
Yeah, 3 straight lost faceoffs in the defensive zone and a big rebound, and eventually it's going to come back to bite you.
Camden Markham got the puck off the right post and redirected it past Jan Skorpic. For Markham, it's his 5th of the season. And the Pointers are back in front with 5:59 to go.
Good shot by Markham there, too. Going against the grain. Skorpic was moving to his right, and the shot was back to the far post.
So the Jackets got to circle things here now and find that extra gear here as they're down a goal with 6 minutes to play. Plenty of time, but not quite as comfortable as it was a couple minutes ago. Shea on the left wing tried to clear. That's not going to come out. The puck in the Yellow Jacket zone. Comes around behind the net. Bunting along the end boards. Tried to poke that behind the goal. It's going to come back up the boards again. Mosier on the left wing. Up top for Bunting. Jackets got to start moving their feet here. Just letting the Pointers run the show. And they're doing a good job of it. Finally, it gets past the D and comes all the way down the ice.
Stevens' point was number 10, Camden Markham. He got an assist from number 11, Nico Shimilevsky, and number 27, Alex Johnson.
So Johnson and
Markham.
Shimilevsky with the assists on the go-ahead goal by Camden Markham. And the Pointers are in front here with 5 minutes to play in the third. Bunting flips it into the Yellow Jacket zone. Tyler Ryder to clear. At the Stevens Point line, Hintz. Chances are you're going to see a lot of dumping the puck in if you're Stevens Point, and they're always going to have a third man high. In the left wing corner, Yellow Jacket zone. Ishmael pokes it behind the net for Ryder. Ryder ahead on the left wing for Roosevelt. He crosses the Stevens Point line. Roosevelt shifts away from traffic, carries behind the net. It comes around on the right wing boards. Axel a shot, it's blocked. Roosevelt again up top to Axel right point. Bergstrom left point in the high slot for Ishmael. Ishmael gets sandwiched between defenders. Bergstrom gets away, takes a shot that's tipped wide. Dauphiné behind the net, tried to center, comes to the right post, and Proctor will cover. Face-off coming here in the Stevens Point zone.
Proctor done a nice job anticipating those low pucks from behind the goal, stopping them with his catching mitt and never letting them connect with anybody out front. It's not just about the shots coming from in front of the net. Sometimes it's about being able to prevent stuff from getting to the front of the net.
Pointers win the face-off again, and Hamady will take it to center across the Yellow Jacket line. Left side centering pass goes off the stick of Turner Richards. Jackets turning it over again now. Jackets panicking a little bit here, I feel like, Jason. On the left wing, Riddle, a long shot from the neutral zone, gloved and held by Proctor. 3:56 to play here, third period, 2-1 Pointers.
Urgency definitely setting in now. Got to get some pucks to the net. Got to get some commotion. Definitely going to need some traffic out front here the way the Proctors played tonight.
Buck behind the Stevens Point net. It's wrapped around on the right wing. Hops the stick of A.J. Reed. The Pointers go to clear. Danziger held it for a moment. Now it does come to center. Tyler Ryder for the Yellow Jackets circles it back. Sends it over to the right side. Danziger up the wall now, and Roosevelt tips it in. Larson giving chase. O'Brien gets there first for Stevens Point. Now behind the net, Eftimovsky pressured by A.J. Reed. Puck cleared up the boards, held in at the left point by Ryder in the high slot. Larson, a shot, the save made. Proctor, the rebound right there for Tuo Mioksa, but he couldn't get a stick on it. Now on the left wing boards. Puck comes free. Held in by Ryder at the left point. Reed pushes it down the wall, but the Pointers will intercept, and Eftimovsky will clear. Ryder has it bounce over his stick, and the puck comes all the way back into Yellow Jacket territory. Larson now. All the way to the right side. He dumps it in. Yellow Jackets will change as we're under 3 to play here now. Third period. 2-1 Stevens Point. Colin Pettersson left corner. Up to Bergstrom left point. Axel right point. Takes the shot. It's knocked out of the air by Engelbert. In the right wing corner now for the Yellow Jackets. Riddle has it hop off his stick. Now it's going to be sent all the way down and be icing on Stevens Point.
Another big save from Alex Proctor, flashing that right skate out, knocking that last good chance away for the Jackets. Nearing the 40 shot threshold here for UWS tonight. I feel like we haven't been there at home in a while.
It's been a while, yeah. It looks like the Yellow Jackets are going to utilize their timeout.
Coach McKenna already has the whiteboard out, so would seem he's going to take advantage of this offensive zone face-off to run a play.
2:38 remaining.
How often in your college playing career can you remember, like, let's get a percentage of being able to successfully execute, I'm not saying score, but successfully execute the play off a face-off in the O-zone in a situation like this?
I can't answer that.
Okay. It's just so hard. Hockey's such a free-flowing game, and you can draw something up, but it's predicated on a lot of things having to happen the right way.
On a bounce, basically.
Yeah.
You're bouncing a puck off of frozen ice, and you're predicating all of it off of that.
Right.
So, yeah, it all depends on that bounce.
Did it typically have two options in your experience? Is it all just designed for like one shot, or is there a and then this?
Yeah, you pretty much. You were doing one thing if you won the draw, you were doing something else if you lost it.
So that's the second part, probably, is covering, like, okay, if we don't win this.
Yep.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
Skorpic on the bench, so the Yellow Jacket net is empty.
Wow.
2:38 to play in the third. Stevens Point leading 2-1. Roosevelt, Ishmael, Setter, Riddle, Ryder, Pettersson. Comes down to this. This is about as close to a must-win face-off as you can get. Ishmael to do the honors with Engelbert. Pointers win it. It's loose in the circle now. Comes up to the blue line. Riddle's got it. Riddle right circle. Takes the shot. He just missed wide left. Ryder holds it in at the left point momentarily. Pointers get it and clear. Pettersson backing it up to his own line. Gives it to Ryder. Over to Ishmael on the right side, and he dumps it in. Puck comes over. Setter on the left wing boards. Behind the net for Roosevelt. Now to the right wing corner, Ishmael. Puck dug free by Riddle. He'll send it all the way back around to the left side for Ryder, left point. He'll go back down to the corner. Setter and Engelbert go after it. Setter's got it. Now for Ishmael. Over to the right wing boards. Roosevelt under 2 to go here in the third. Pettersson, the shot, and it's deflected just wide. Now behind the net, Roosevelt centering feed. That one's broken up. In the right wing corner, Bunting to clear. It goes off the boards all the way down, and it misses by inches. And it's an icing call on Stevens Point with 1:45 to go.
Game of inches indeed. And so far, the decision to pull Skorpic comes up looking great there. I mean, even if it backfires now, it was still a good decision. But the Yellow Jackets really did a great job winning that scramble. I mean, they didn't win it clean, but they ended up doing enough to maintain possession of the puck, and then were able to get exactly what they wanted, extended opportunities with the goalie pulled. And actually, it was the extra attacker who was able to maintain possession for UWS off that initial faceoff. So good decision there by the coaching staff. Worked out well for them, but just a couple near misses for UWS and then a near miss for Stevens Point on the other end.
Stevens Point will call its timeout now with 1:45 to play. Was hoping I wasn't going to talk about overtime tonight, but the Jackets have 105 seconds to tie this game and force the extra session.
If you would have told me that UWS was going to amass 40 shots on goal tonight, I would have been surprised to hear that they've only scored 1 goal. And I guess that's largely a credit to Alex Proctor.
Yeah, without a doubt. And especially in the first period, I think. You know, when the Yellow Jackets found their footing, he made a lot of saves and a couple key ones in that first period. And so I kind of lean on that and go, yeah, that was the difference here. Face-off will be to Proctor's right. False start on the draw. Yellow Jackets go right back to the same 6 on the ice. Roosevelt in to take the face-off. He wins it. On the left wing boards, Riddle goes behind the net with it here. Ishmael, right wing corner, being pressured by Hintz. Up top, right point, Pettersson. Left point, Ryder. Stick handle, shoots, it's blocked. Ryder again, down the left wing boards. Roosevelt left corner, Ryder left point. Right point, Pettersson, the shot save. Proctor, big rebound there. Ishmael in the right circle now. Up top to the right point, Pettersson, 1:20 left. Right wing corner, Riddle. Up top, Pettersson mishandles, and it's going to pop his stick and come to neutral ice. Pettersson now dropping it back for Carson Riddle. Now for Ryder at the Yellow Jacket blue line to Riddle. Over to Ryder left wing. He crosses the Stevens Point line. Ryder down to the left wing corner. 1 minute to go here, third period. Yellow Jackets need a miracle as they're down a goal. Puck is in the left wing corner. Setter up top, left point, Ryder. Right point, Pettersson takes the shot. That's deflected wide. Another block for Stevens Point. They're nearing 20 for the game. At the left point, Ryder takes the shot, blocked, and it's going to come to neutral ice. Jackets got a tag up here. Pettersson up the right wing. Stripped to the puck, and the Pointers do the Jackets a favor as they ice the puck with 32.4 seconds remaining.
Significant miscue there, but the Pointers were tired, and the brain synapses aren't firing quite as good when you're that tired after the work they had to put in to survive that shift. Squeezed that one off a little too quick and iced it.
Andrew Larson in to take the face-off for the Yellow Jackets here. 32.4 seconds remaining. Jackets down 2-1. On the left wing boards, it comes up to the blue line. Bergstrom able to hold. Jackets get away with a hand pass there, I think. Kagawa behind the net, tried to center, it's blocked. A.J. Reed at the right point. Left point, Bergstrom, shot blocked. Bergstrom again left point, 15 seconds to go. Reed into the slot, Larson fires. His save made, rebound on the doorstep, Kagawa, and he puts it over the net. Now in the left wing corner, Yarmolnik tried to center. Pointers break it up, and this one's over.
Oh, no.
Let's not do that, guys.
Oh, Rupe Tuomioxa chased that down and got absolutely crushed into the end boards. And he's down and hurt at the buzzer. Rolling on his side now. Great effort to try to get back and break that one up. And ultimately did get back and break up what seemed to be a sure goal. But when the puck went behind the net, he was taken hard into the end boards. Training staff out there checking on him now. His teammates.
That was a big-time collision. He went in hard, and I'll give him all the credit in the world for the back check on that play.
Yeah.
Because he did not give up on the play at all.
He sold out.
And was able to come back and break up that rush.
He's up
on his feet now, holding the left shoulder. But at any rate, all it did was save the empty net goal, but time runs out. And the 25-26 campaign comes to a close for the Yellow Jackets. And Stevens Point gets the victory, and they will advance to the WIAC semifinals.
Yeah, fairly common story here for UWS. Goals were hard to come by, and we got a little skirmish. We got a little skirmish breaking out here in the post-game handshake line. Cooler heads have prevailed as the linesmen jump in there. Interestingly, it's Isaac DeVoe that's the most heated for the Yellow Jackets and having to get separated. Did not see what set the fuse for him. Coming in here, going on the road, getting a big victory to extend their season. It's not easy to beat a decent team 4 times in one season, and that's what you saw here. I mean, Stevens Point is not a bad hockey team at all.
Right. No.
They have quality players. That's a quality team. You know, it was one of those years where things just, the wins didn't come easy for them, but that's not a bad hockey team at all. And it was a tall order to get a 4th win against them, and unfortunately for the Yellow Jackets, they just weren't able to do it.
Especially 3 in 3 consecutive games.
Right.
You know, and it's something that I asked Coach about before the game a little bit. You know, playing the same team 3 times in a row, is that a challenge, or what does that do? And he says, you know, it's the same thing for them, but it's tricky. You know, it's tricky when there's no secrets at this point, so
right.
It's a tricky one. Yellow Jackets surrounding the center face-off circle. They know their season has come to a close. Several seniors are saluting the fans for the final time here tonight. It's a big senior class for the Yellow Jackets, and they're going to have some holes to fill, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a different looking team next year for sure.
But a tip of the hat to Stevens Point. They were fantastic tonight for the bulk of the evening, and can't say enough about the job Alex Proctor has done. You know, I know he's had kind of an up and down season like the Pointers have.
Right.
You know, and you look at the save percentage, and it's a shade over 90, so not quite what we're accustomed to seeing out of him. But when the chips were pushed into the middle of the table, he bet on himself. He showed up big time tonight.
Yeah, he came up big tonight, played a fantastic game for them, backstopped them to the victory that'll keep their season going.
Keeping an eye down on Abby to see if she's going to try to grab somebody. This is always the tricky time of year, too, because their season's over.
Right.
It's tough to start asking questions of people. And
side note, Rupi Tuomioja on the ice still was able to participate in the stick salute and everything. So
yeah, he appears to be all right.
Yeah. He's sore, but wasn't needing to be taken off immediately for medical attention or anything like that. So
a lot of hugs going on right now as as we mentioned, it's a big senior class. You know, with the graduation of this roster now, you're losing Tyler Ryder, Dusty Bergstrom, Carson Riddle, Colin Pedersen, Chris Ishmael, Liam Whitehouse, Austin Paul, and Jan Skorpik. So, I mean, that's a big senior class.
And we've all lived through this as athletes in our life. The suddenness of this moment, there's just no way to prepare for it and no way to explain it to somebody that hasn't been through it. You never come into a game thinking you're going to lose.
Right.
You never come into that last game thinking it's going to be over.
Right.
I mean, unless you're in such bad straits in where you know it's the last game no matter what. But
right.
But like when it's any kind of playoff, you always come into it confident you're going to win. You know, you just have to believe that. And so when that final horn sounds, it is one of the strangest feelings to go from that utter belief right up till the final second to then having it be over so suddenly and so finally.
And I think it was a year ago when the Jackets got knocked out by River Falls in the semis, and it was Brian Meisner who I believe said the exact same thing. That it's sun's going to come up tomorrow. We're going to all move on from this, but it's just the suddenness of it.
Right.
You know, especially with last year's club, because you win the conference championship, you roll River Falls on Friday, and then Saturday you forget how to score goals.
Right.
You know, and you get a couple bad bounces in there and you're done.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the suddenness of it, and I think that's kind of what everybody's experiencing right now, you know, and, for a big senior class who accomplished some things here.
Yeah.
You know, they had a good run.
Yep.
You know, they hung a banner.
It
didn't end the way that they wanted it to, but they hung a banner, and, it's it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the trick about the whole thing. So I still keeping an eye on Abby down there, wondering if she's going to try to grab anybody. I don't think we have to.
Yeah, it's tough. Everybody saying their goodbyes. You don't really want to interrupt that.
Well, it's that. I mean, this is that tough one. I remember my final game. Unfortunately for me, my last game was at St. Norbert, so 6 hours away. But I was the lone senior on my last team, and I think I sat in that locker room for an hour and just didn't even really move, just sat there.
Yeah.
Knowing that something that I poured my entire life into was done. And it's a little bit like you're grieving a death right there.
Yeah.
And it was hard.
And there's a lot that goes into it. You talk about poured your entire life into it, and in those moments as a player, you are saying goodbye to a lot of things. In a lot of ways, you're saying goodbye to your childhood because it really ends.
Yeah.
It ends then.
Yep.
And all those years, you're taking a step across a threshold there that, that's a big one.
Right.
You're saying goodbye to a lot of things. It's not just a game or a season or even your college career. It's really kind of taking that step into like, these guys are going to go work for a living now in a lot of cases.
Yeah, and in a lot of ways too, it's your identity.
Yeah, absolutely.
For a lot of us who are college athletes,
Yeah.
I mean, you're known in most cases as the athlete. So when that ends, now there's what am I now?
Right.
What am I? So there's a lot that goes into it, and it's a very emotional moment. So I feel for those guys. I know exactly what they're going through. It's some of the worst pain in the world. But again, the sun is going to come up, and you just move on to the next phase of life.
Right. And you'll be grateful that you had the opportunity to do this and make these memories.
Because the percentage of people that actually move from high school to college sports is so small.
Right.
To be able to do that, pretty cool thing.
Yeah, absolutely. A special thing, and to be able to extend these experiences. And for some of the players, probably going to have some pro hockey opportunities coming up very, very soon.
Without a doubt. Final score here again tonight. Stevens Point defeats the Yellow Jackets 2-1. We'll take a timeout and come back with the post-game show sponsored by Synovus Energy and the Superior Refinery right after this. This is Yellow Jacket Hockey on 91.3 KUWS Superior and the WIAC Sports Network. We're back here at Westman Arena as the postgame show sponsored by Synovus Energy and the Superior Refinery, coming after a 2-1 loss for the Yellow Jackets here tonight at the hands of UW Stevens Point. They are knocked out of the 2026 WIAC tournament and have had their season come to a close. Roller coaster ride of a season. I mean, if you don't like roller coasters, this wasn't the team for you. There's no doubt about that, because from the highs of a 7-0 win to open the season to the month of November, where it truly was win one, lose one, win one, lose one, a 6-game heater, followed by a 5-game winless streak, followed by, I think we're figuring stuff out, to tonight. It really, truly was the roller coaster ride of all roller coaster rides.
Yeah, it definitely was. And I think with this personnel, that was a little surprising. I think everybody involved felt like with this personnel that eventually, sooner rather than later, they'd find a groove and probably ride it right through the end of the season. And unfortunately, that never really happened.
No, it didn't materialize. Excuse me. My voice is going to be happy to have some time off here, no doubt about that. But yeah, that never really did materialize, unfortunately. And, you get what you have here, a team that wraps up the season at 13-11-2. So let's go into the post-game summary. Stevens Point jumping on the board early, very early, just 39 seconds in. A block shot in their own zone leads to a nice forechecking shift, and Alex Hamady putting them up 1-0. Are you waiting for something there, James?
Oh, sorry, I didn't know if they were going to cut to your call of it.
No,
sorry.
We only did that for our goals.
One of the great things here, obviously, anytime you can turn defense into offense, the coaches love it, but as a player that appreciates both sides of the game, and that was a great example of it there for sure.
Hamady was the recipient of the puck between the circles. He put a shot over the glove of Jan Skorpic 39 seconds in. Sean Bunting had the assist. 1-0 Stevens Point after one. Shots on goal in the first period, heavily in favor of the Yellow Jackets at 18-9. And we talked about it during the broadcast, Jason. The Jackets got punched in the face there. It took them about 5 or 6 minutes. They figured it out, and they were able to get into the offensive zone and start generating some things as the period went on.
We talk often about the importance of the first goal and how it can really dictate the outcome or the initial momentum of games, and to an extent it did. But the one thing about that goal was it came so early. It was like, okay, well, that was a bad start, but let's just flush it. We got 59 minutes to go. And for the most part, I thought UWS did that, but it did take them a while to start to find some traction.
In the second period for the bulk of the season was the worst period for this Yellow Jacket hockey team. They had a good second period last weekend at Stevens Point on Friday. They had a good one in the second period in the Stevens Point on Saturday. Had a good one here tonight, too, and it was punctuated by Eki Kagawa.
Yeah, absolutely. It carried over here.
Kagawa's second of the season, 11:49 of the second period, tied the game for the Yellow Jackets. Kagawa tried to feather a pass through to Carson Riddle. That one didn't go. He got it right back and buried it.
Big goal for the Yellow Jackets. Huge to get that equalizer, put things back to level, and then was just a big shot of energy, just a spark for the team, and they rode it for the rest of the period.
Yeah, they were fantastic the rest of the second period. Unfortunately for them, so was Alex Proctor.
Right.
And that's what kept this thing at 1-1. And as it went into the third period, shots in the second, the Yellow Jackets 12 for a two-period total of 30. Stevens Point 10 for a two-period total of 19. Then as the third period went on, it looks like they changed the goal. It was originally Camden Markham who was given credit for it, but now it's going to be Alex Johnson. So I think what I thought happened was Markham redirected it at the right post. They're saying that didn't happen. It was Johnson's shot, and that's what you were talking about.
Right, yeah, they had an initial shot that came through against the grain there, going against the direction that Skorpic was moving, going to the back post with this shot.
And it was one of that stretch too, Jason, where I think there was 3 or 4 defensive zone faceoffs,
right,
and the Jackets weren't winning them. And we've seen that a few times this season where they aren't winning faceoffs in the defensive zone. They get stacked up like that, and it comes back to bite them.
Yeah, ended up with the Jackets at 49.2% for the night, so not terrible by any means, except that sequence when there were 3 straight lost D-zone faceoffs. The third time it came back to bite them.
So that put the Pointers ahead with 5:59 to go. Yellow Jackets got their goaltender out with just under 3 minutes remaining in the third. By and large, had the puck in the offensive zone. Had a couple really good outlooks in there, too. But Alex Proctor.
Yeah, that worked out great for him. They were very aggressive, the coaching staff, in calling that timeout and pulling the goaltender early. But it worked out great. The extra attacker was able to help them maintain possession off the initial faceoff after they pulled the goalie. Created some really good looks, did everything but score, basically.
Shots in the third period, the Yellow Jackets had 11 for a game total of 41. Stevens Point had 10 for a game total of 29. Penalties in the game, there was 1. It was on A.J. Reed in the second period. Yellow Jackets killed it off, so not a single power play opportunity for the Yellow Jackets here tonight. Alex Proctor gets the victory in goal. His record now 8-11-1 on the season. He finishes the night with 40 saves. At the other end, Jan Skorpic, he finishes the evening with 27 stops. His record drops to 8-7-1. Stevens Point improving to 12-12-2 overall on the season. Yellow Jackets will finish up at 13-11-2. 3 stars.
3 stars, all right. Third star tonight, UWS sophomore forward Iki Kagawa. He of the 1 goal and a lot of fancy skating out there. He also had 4 shots. Dynamic player, made an impact every time he was on the ice, and that's been typically the case down the stretch here with Iki.
Yeah, can't poke a hole in that one.
Second star is Stevens Point senior forward Sean Bunting. He's always
everywhere tonight.
He was everywhere tonight.
Yep.
I mean, he's always been highly involved one way or the other. Tonight, right off the start, he makes a great block, ends up assisting on the first goal, and all night long, you noticed him whenever he was on the ice. He was always involved in doing good things for Stevens Point.
Yep, Sean Bunting, number 2, and the number 1.
Not much mystery in this one. Number 1 star is Stevens Point senior goalie Alex Proctor, coming in here with a tour de force, 40 saves on 41 shots. That was a very, very good goaltending game and just what they needed to come out of here with a road victory in the playoffs.
So with all of that brings the close to the 25-26 Yellow Jacket men's hockey broadcast season. So many people we need to thank. We need to thank Tom Hansen at KUWS, Molly Gardner at Wisconsin Public Radio, Chris Allen and the Gus Bus, and Owen and Wyatt and everybody who operates the board back in the studio. On the Yellow Jacket TV side of things, Bradley Lellis, Evan Ludwig, Holden Law, Harry Law, everybody that makes the graphics look good and pushes all the right buttons to switch cameras and everything. Couldn't do what we do and put on the show that we do here without all these people that are behind the scenes. Also want to thank our underwriters because it's not free to put games on the air. We got a good group of loyal people and loyal businesses in this community that say, you know what, this is a good service. We want to keep this going. And we're one of the few. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago at River Falls when we celebrated the 60th anniversary of the radio station. We're one of the few that still puts every game on the air, home and away. And at a time when a lot of schools aren't even doing anything on terrestrial radio, we're still trying to grow it. And it's really cool that when you look back on it, there's probably half a dozen schools in the country that still put every game on the air, and we're one of them. So pretty cool that we were able to do this. So many thanks to all of those people that make it possible for Yellow Jacket hockey to still be brought to you every weekend throughout the winter season. Final thoughts.
It was an interesting season. Like we talked about, not the season we expected we had, but always a pleasure to be able to come out here and watch these student athletes do what they do and give their heart and soul for each other and for their coaching staffs and for their friends and their family, and to be able to make these great memories. And it's a privilege to be able to be up here with you, kind of conveying all that action, especially when we know that there are so many families that aren't able to be here in person. And it's just great to be able to be the voice for them.
So we want to take some time here and thank the Gus Bus back in the studio tonight at KUWS. Bradley Lellis here with what would have usually been Yellow Jacket TV, but tonight is just the WIAC Sports Network. For Bradley, for the Gus Bus, for Abby Hoffman ringside, for Jason Rohn, I am John Garver. Final score here again tonight. The Yellow Jackets falling to UW Stevens Point by a score of 2-1, and that brings the 25-26 campaign to a close. Thank you very much for joining us, not just tonight, but throughout the entire season, and looking forward to having you back with us next season when the Jackets return home on a date against an opponent to be determined.
We'll be here.
Until then, good night from Superior, Wisconsin.